Welcome back to 10 Cents Podcast. I'm your host, Robert Burrell. And sitting across from me is my co-host, Adam Nilsson. And on Zoom, we have Dusty. And what?
You're just so fast.
It wasn't even that fast.
It was that fast.
I want to get through it really fast so I can tell you that there's no more snapping turtles in my pond. No, they're not allowed. That is the only thing.
I'm fucking leaving.
No, that is the only thing.
Dusty, talk to me. I'm done to the other side of the table doesn't exist to me anymore.
It's the only thing that's allowed to be. That pond is catch and release. 100%.
Yeah.
Except for snapping turtles. Yes. You take them out and you kill them.
No.
And you don't put them back.
Robbie.
That is the rules.
They're the second coolest turtle. After, of course, the alligator snapping turtle. The common snapping turtle is number 2.
What if I told you that we had nothing but alligator snapping turtles until I killed them all?
Well, they don't live in this part of the country.
You don't know that.
I do know that, Robbie. To my great disappointment, they don't live here.
I wouldn't question his wild critter knowledge.
Dusty's a lot closer to the alligator snapping population than we are.
Yep. No, I remember last year there was the neighbor kids were out fishing, and I don't know if they were fishing for catfish or what, but every time they'd catch something, it'd be a fucking snapping turtle.
Yeah, it's great.
And then they're like, "What do we do with it?" And I was like,
"Throw it back in.
You kill it.
No,
you don't put it back." So then they killed one, and then they didn't know what to do with the bigger one because
the bigger one, you take him home.
Well, they took the shells home.
No.
Man, those things stunk.
Well, yeah, they are.
And then, of course, they're like, "Do you have a gun?" I'm like, I didn't want to admit to these kids I don't have a gun. Because, you know, if I tell them I don't have
what kind of man are you?
Well, if I tell them I don't have a gun, they're like, ha, that house is open. You know, they can go into that house.
Yeah, they're going to
to
show up the next day to take everything you
own.
They're a bunch of 10 to 12-year-old kids. They're not going to be coming
No, they're degenerates. They're going to come steal all my stuff when they realize I don't have a gun.
They live in, like, fucking...
I don't know where they're from.
Upper middle-class houses.
No, I don't think they're... Well, they might have been. I don't know.
They were for sure locals, Robbie.
It says no locals allowed, so...
They didn't have the gate code if they weren't in the neighborhood. Come on now.
There's no gate.
I'm really glad there's not a gate. If I had to go through a gate all the time, I'd be so annoyed.
So would I. But yeah, no, we had to kill them.
We're 2 steps off of that. But no, we don't have a gate.
We're a gravel road. There's not going to be a gate.
There's a gate at Polo Run.
No, there's not.
Does it not close? I could have swore there was a gate over there.
No, there's not. I mean, I've gone up and like looked at all those houses just out of curiosity because the one on the top of the hill is from like 1900.
My boss's house has a gate.
That's his own private gate.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah, my boss lives just down the street from Robbie. My rich boss who used to run Indy Lights. Yeah, he's Robbie's neighbor.
He lives past the horse pastures. I don't even see him.
Those are one. That's where his brain surgeon sister lives. Is in one of those houses.
So they're both well-established pro-am racers. I mean, I don't see the difference.
Yeah, it's basically a motorsports housing development.
I mean, there is that. No one really complains about the loud noises, so I appreciate
That's because there's kids ripping up and down the roads and dirt bikes and four-wheelers.
No, because they put in speed bumps because of that.
No, those are gone, Robbie.
But luckily,
those have been pounded into the dirt.
Luckily, the people that put them in moved, and everyone else is like, "This is stupid."
I assume you have a lot of side-by-side traffic, at least, don't you?
No. There's like a couple.
Really?
No. There's one kid
I thought that was like
bike.
a prerequisite for living out here was that you got to have a side-by-side.
No.
Or a dirt bike.
Not here.
Or something.
South Dakota, yeah, for sure.
Well, that's because you can street register them.
I think you can street register them here.
Yes, you can now, but there's like something about you're not allowed to drive them on state highways.
Oh, yeah, probably. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. There's a couple kids like with dirt bikes and stuff, and then of course the email comes out every spring. It's like, make sure you're not speeding on the dam, and whatever. Who cares?
You have a dam?
What? Technically, that road that is next to the pond. That's
okay.
a dam. That's technically a dam.
Oh,
so yeah, the whole road is a dam.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the picture that I sent Dusty of my 350Z last weekend was on the dam.
Robbie,
what?
When? When am I going to see this?
It blended into all that green grass.
This fucking jerk here. He hid his car away so I couldn't see it when I came over here to work on my van. We haven't even talked about yet.
This is approaching the NPO one in terms of amusing secrecy.
This is worse than the NPO one because there's more people in on it. Like, I even know at this point, but I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah. You know what it looks like? The shape of it. I sent you a picture of the black and white shape of it.
Yeah, it looks like a 350Z, which looks like a 370Z, which looks like a 240Z, which...
Yeah. No, Dalton was on the show last week. This is a new show.
You'll see it. Surely you'll see it by May.
I was going to say at Midwest Fest in June.
I promise you'll see it.
Is it going to be my birthday present? The first time I'm going to see is when you roll it out of the trailer at Midwest Fest, isn't it?
I like that. That's a good idea. I like where your head's at. There's no way I can wait that long because it's
block him from the social media posts.
If he just puts it on Instagram, I'll never fucking see it anyway.
I'll tag you in it
because I literally don't open Instagram.
Well, clearly I haven't. I haven't posted since like January.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. The last thing I posted was the fortunes when I got them.
Oh.
I haven't posted anything. I did some stories when I was fixing the transmission.
Should just post that stuff on the podcast page and be done with it.
Just get one social media thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of us should just post on that more often.
I'd post on it.
Just random shit.
Go for it. I'm not stopping.
That's how Driving While Awesome got their gigantic following, is just posting all the cool cars they see in California all the time.
No, you're welcome to post whatever you want.
I know. I'll post on that just as often as I post on my own, Robbie. So I made a post at Heartland Park about my kids.
Yeah. I just post about my wrenching, and then eventually I'll post a picture of what it looks like when I'm done. Everyone just assumes I'm not doing anything, but it's like drastic.
Nobody assumes that.
Somebody might.
Nobody assumes that.
I appreciate that.
They either don't care at all, or they know better.
You're right. Nobody cares.
Or they know better.
What is it? Nobody cares. Work harder.
Exactly. Nobody cares. Work harder. I'm convinced.
Why work harder if nobody cares, Robbie?
I care. I don't know. I'm convinced Wes thinks I haven't done a fucking thing.
He listens to the show.
I know, but I'm convinced I'm convinced he thinks I haven't touched that car all winter.
I don't know, man.
He's like, I will bet you I'll beat you at Midwest Festival. I'm like, okay. I'm not really a betting guy, but sure, whatever. I honestly think he thinks that I haven't touched that car.
I can't wait to slap a giant 1010s podcast sticker on the side of that fucking car when he loses.
I hope he does. That'd be great.
Yeah, he better, Robbie.
He better, yeah.
We're going to need to get a big sticker.
Yeah.
Like an obnoxious one.
Since you're the bet commissioner and we haven't... Dusty's the bet commissioner.
Okay. Are you going to be at Midwest?
Can you make a 1010s podcast logo that looks like a gigantic penis?
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, we could make little penises on the little gauge. Ooh, or just make the needle on the gauge a big penis.
A big penis. 1010s, but it has to have wings. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, it doesn't need wings.
Doesn't need wings?
No, because that's stealing away from
fair enough.
Because apparently that's a Gambler 500 thing that's become a Chop Top thing.
Okay, and since we didn't do Chop Top, that's fair.
But I like...
two. I think the Gambler cinematic universe and the Chop Top cinematic universe are the same.
The circles.
The people...
Yeah.
The Venn diagram.
The Venn diagram is a circle, yeah.
Yeah, probably. If there was a Gambler 500 close by, it seems like a thing Dalton would participate in.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's the only thing I've ever been to that seemed like it was on the level of an Iowa Man event was roaming around in Portland at the Gambler 500.
You did a Gambler?
I went up there to we made the Dirt Every Day guys were running a car on it, and we made a replica of it as an RC car of
right.
Or it was the off-road runner, the 74 Roadrunner that they did. So they ended up not getting to the actual campsite until 1 o'clock in the morning.
That checks out because
that's what they do. Yeah. So that one was at a ski resort in the middle of summer. It was pitch black dark. There was 1,000 people there just running around partying straight through the night. It was the wildest scene I have ever been a part of in my life. It was
that's really
so insane.
That is really saying something.
He hasn't been to Midwest Fest yet.
What are you doing in June?
Midwest Fest.
So I'm trying to figure out how to get there. I don't really want to drive 16 hours, but I also don't want to spend like $700 to fly there.
Just fly into Des Moines. We'll drive you there.
Yeah, come with me.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see if that's any cheaper.
There's got to be a direct flight from Dallas to Des Moines.
Yeah, there should be. But
I don't really want to drag the trailer through O'Hare, but if I have to, I'll do it.
So flying into O'Hare should be like the cheapest thing in the world because American has like 17 flights a day going there, but it's like
that might be an understatement.
$600 or something like that, and then plus like renting a car. Cause I don't. Yeah,
you won't have to rent a car if you.
We'll get you.
Yeah, I won't even charge you gas.
We'll figure it out.
It's a free ride.
Yeah. So the other alternative is to just suck it up and drive up there. And
so you could at least drive here and then ride with us, so you don't have to drive the whole way.
Yeah.
It's only 12 hours from your house to here.
It's actually like 10.
Yeah,
see, perfect.
Something like that. But yeah,
that's like a casual afternoon for Texans.
Yeah, for the last couple of years, I've told myself I gotta do that. I don't care like how I make it work.
This is the year. I just want you to know that.
Yep.
This is the one.
It's the 10-year anniversary.
The 1010s party podcast, or the podcast party paddock.
Off the hook.
Yup. We have 2 slushy machines, a hot tub.
Fucking Tommy. Jesus Christ.
It's going to be
It's kind of a really good thing that Tommy's not independently wealthy.
God, that'd be amazing. We'd have a Toro Mechanico for sure.
No, I think we'd probably actually have a blow-up
bouncy house.
That'd
be all right.
Like a obnoxiously large one.
I want a mechanical bull more than
with a Toro Mechanico in the middle of it.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I want. I wouldn't even care about racing at that point. I'd be
at some point,
I'm here with my mechanical bull.
At some point, we're going to get told we can't bring these things because there's not room for them because they're not race cars.
But
until
have to get
then,
sponsored.
Yeah.
If you get it sponsored, then it's okay.
We need to get NOS in on it.
See, like we're not bringing campers like everybody else, so there's we make up for that by bringing hot tubs and stuff.
You could bring like 3 Toro Mechanicos and not take up as much space as Jeremy Swenson's going to be. So
yes, or every other GLTC driver in their fucking RVs. It's crazy. Everyone has an RV now. I remember when it was like open trailers, and then everyone got enclosed trailers. Now everyone has those 28-foot or longer enclosed trailers, and they're 40-foot RVs.
And a lot of those 28-foot trailers are stackers.
No, they're not. It's one guy with one trailer and one car.
That doesn't mean they're not stackers.
Oh, I guess they're only bringing one car.
Some of them do, yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's out of control, man.
Last year, the Festiva guys rented a outdoorsy. I'm just saying. It wasn't parked in our area, but it was there.
Yeah, I would say Gingerman is going to be packed. So packed.
It's going to be a problem. It's a problem every year.
Yeah.
But
get your black Jeep out of our paddock.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll see you in June. That'll be great.
My favorite drag strip that we ever ran at, the guy that actually ran the track did the PA, and he would announce, okay, we've got a red Buick Century that's blocking in a race car. If you don't move it in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to come move it with my tractor. I'm not very good at running the tractor, so I can't guarantee what kind of shape it'll be in whenever I get done, but it will be moved.
Their priorities are in the right spot.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Maybe Gingerman needs a tractor.
Oh, there's for sure a tractor there.
All right. Good. Get all those black.
Do you know that it's also the set of a rap video?
I bet I'm like half of those views. I watch it all the time. It's the best. It's the best video.
Second best.
Second best video ever. I enjoyed it. It was awesome.
It's no super lap theme.
God. Speaking of,
Robbie said that to us like 9 fucking times.
Every time it got mentioned in the group message for like a month, there would be a link immediately following.
I had it like saved on my clipboard. Super lap.
Oh man,
you can bring your family.
I didn't even listen to it I didn't even listen to it like the first 3 or 4 times that he sent it, and then one time I finally clicked on it. I'm like, oh man, That's interesting.
That's a deal.
Speaking
I
of,
missed it being performed live. That's my one
Was
regret
it?
from the week.
Yeah, he was there. He did perform it. Remember?
Shit, son.
I think maybe just the DJ was playing it and he was
No, he was rapping. Like they did like a video for it. It looked like
Yeah.
in the Instagram reel.
yeah, there was a lot. There's a lot happened in that car show scene.
It's a wild car show.
Like this year, I think spectator wise was even crazier than the last few years because like it was crazy shoulder to shoulder along the wall and the drift setup. And there was a ton of people roaming around the car show. Like,
Good.
yeah,
I genuinely hope that this event continues to pull in huge numbers because I'm so sad I missed it because now I won't be able to claim I've been to all of them. But it's such a cool event.
Yeah, it was. So the paddock walk on Sunday was like, it felt like the only time I've been down there that felt similar was for like IMSA and WC. You know, like it was 6 or 7 people deep.
That's
like,
so awesome.
Basically all the way down the pit lane.
That's so awesome.
And, like tons of families. I know Coda actually included it on their like their upcoming events emails. They tied it in with Cars and Coffee on Sundays, so like they had a huge Cars and Coffee, and it was if you came to the Cars and Coffee, you could get in for free, and yeah.
The first year they had a Cars and Coffee out there, and I was like, "Holy fuck, dude!" There had to be 1,000 cars there.
Jeez,
it was crazy.
So
there's a lot of people in Austin with money to buy silly cars. Turns out
you don't.
Well,
say.
the thing about Cars and Coffee is that you don't have to have really nice cars to show up. Like that's not a prerequisite. So everybody comes to these things.
Oh yeah, but the people with the nice cars do show up, and then you
Well,
get to
yeah,
see
you got all these crazy hypercars showing up in Austin.
yeah.
So
yeah, like while the first GLTC race was going on Sunday morning, I was watching the line of cars going across the back behind turn 20. And it was just nuts. It was like McLaren, Lambo, old Charger, you know, like just crazy stuff. Like,
yeah.
I'll say they were talking about that on the live stream, just the sheer number of people. And you could like see when they would pan away from the track for a while and to show the other things going on.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people there, which is
Yeah,
good.
I know like last year it was, I mean, there was a really well attended event. There were a ton of people walking around, milling about. I don't know. This year, I'd assume they probably didn't open them up either, but there's still a ton of grandstanding that you can't even get to.
Yeah, I know the main straight was definitely open.
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't really explore that much to see if you could get past like the S's over on the backside or not. There wasn't really any people over there. But
yeah, I've never been down there, like where the S's turn to the right and then go all the way down to where the back or to the beginning of the front straight. I've never gone that way.
Yeah,
all the way
there's
down in there.
a lot of. I know several of the years they've had like barricades up to where you actually couldn't go down that far.
Yeah, they always keep you out of the. You can get on the bridge that goes across from where the drift area is over to the stadium section. They call it, which is kind of that infield part after you get off the back straight and then out to the carousel.
Yep.
That's the stadium section. And you can get on the bridge there, but you can't get onto the grandstands there. And it's always been kind of a bummer deal because I would like to sit there and watch that section.
Yeah, that part was actually open this time.
Really?
But not really any people were going over there.
I would totes been over there.
So this year with it being like a month later, they were doing all the prep for the NASCAR stuff. So turns like 13, 14, I think, there was a row of semi-truck trailer suites
Nice.
that were backed up all around that.
Nice. My favorite section there to watch is as they're coming, you stand at the bottom of the hill coming into the second to last corner. Is that 19?
19, yeah.
Coming into 19.
Yep.
You stand at the braking zone for 19 so you can look up into the carousel section. because these high downforce cars just come fucking hauling through there.
Oh yeah.
And it's downhill, so they're loaded up. And it's just really cool to watch there. That's my favorite place to stand and watch. I love that spot.
Yeah, when we went for F1 in 2012, we ended up sitting on that berm on the opposite side from where you can be in the paddock.
Yeah.
For 19.
Yeah.
And it was so cool watching the guys pushing the brake zone there and pushing the brake zone there.
What brake zone?
Yeah, in an F1 car, it's not much. But.
Yeah, 19, you can take it's a pretty wide entrance and exit, so you can take it way faster than you probably think you can the first time. And yeah, I can't imagine it's that much of a braking zone for a Formula One car.
It's visually very. Whenever you're on track, it's visually deceptive because you think it's a 90-degree corner because you see the track going off to the left, and you're downhill and the car's loaded up to holy hell, and you've got to get it. Like the car wants to track out to the left, and then you got to get it all the way back over to the right to set up for that corner. And so, like the times that I've run there, I always brake, and then I turn in at 19 and realize, oh yeah, it's like it's not 90 degrees, it's more like 65 or 70 degrees, and it's downhill and it's a little bit cambered, so like it helps the car as you go through it. And
yeah, it's a weird track. Every time I've driven it on a sim, I cannot find a flow. Like it just feels very disjointed. Like it feels like, okay, now I'm in this section, and now I'm in this section. It doesn't have any rhythm and flow to it. On a sim.
The thing that it loses on the sim is that you can't really account for the elevation and how many different places the track has banking or it's off camber. It's really hard to keep track of all that. It's easier to drive in real life than it is on a sim. It's kind of weird. It's of the tracks that I've driven both in a sim and in real life, it's a much bigger disparity for me. How I thought of it going on the sim before I got there.
How many times have you driven there?
I've been twice.
Worth it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't if the Camaro was back together, I would be figuring out when I could go again. It's super fun. And it's just, it's a Formula One track and you get to drive on it. So
you could have gone out there and ran nose to tail with Riley Starr.
Yeah.
You guys could have chased each other around in old American V8 powered iron. It would have been great.
Yeah. So the fact that both
Camaro versus Firebird.
The fact that both him and Mike Dusold were there with both of
well, yeah, but you're not going to keep up with Dusold. Let's just be real.
No, I'm not. Based on what I did last time, I'm not going to do anything near what either of them did unless I got way more ballsy about it.
I didn't know how fast Riley ended up versus where you've been at before.
Yeah, Riley ended up mid-20s. I ran a 30 there the last time I was there, but I ran a 30 in June when it was 114 degrees. So, and that was on Rivals with no wing. That was just Optima Aero. So
yeah, he's on Hoosiers,
bench race. What's up?
He was on Hoosiers, wasn't he?
Goodyear slicks of all things. I don't know.
So that's a 70 Trans Am, right?
It's a 70 Trans Am body, yes.
Yeah, what's left of it. So is that the craziest thing on the planet? Like it looks like
it. So we saw it.
That might be the coolest thing there in my mind.
It's him and Mike for me, and it's two different spectrums of doing the same crazy concept of just taking the skin of a classic car and building a car completely from scratch underneath. His car is wild on track because you cannot see daylight under it. Period. Anywhere.
No, it's crazy low.
So we saw it at SEMA in 2019, I think, whenever he debuted it in Vibrant's booth, and I was just like, this is the most insane thing I've ever seen. Like I've had a joke for a long time that the way you build a proper race car is you sit the rockers on the ground, and then you just start cutting until the tires fit.
Yeah,
and that's legitimately what he did.
The top of your fender above the front fender above the tire should not be more than 2 or 3 inches.
Yeah, and it's definitely.
I mean, that's just how you build an old school American car.
Yeah,
for the track.
It looks it looks like some of the old like Daytona like super modified cars where they just draped a skin over some giant slicks and then made it work.
Yeah.
And then like seeing it on track, like it's so low that it just doesn't roll. It just goes like it runs totally counter to anything I've ever seen on track before. It's just wild.
I can't believe that it doesn't just get stuck on a lip.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Like, I
don't know how
he can't use curbing.
Yeah, I don't know how he got through the paddock to get to the track. It's so low. Like it's mind-boggling.
Is it wildly impressive, like build, like quality wise and stuff like? I mean, it's insane, right?
Yeah, I mean everything on it was is scratch built. It's a full tube chassis. Everywhere you look on the car, it's something that was hand fabricated. Outside of like the roof skin is like the only thing that hasn't been touched on it in some way.
Did it still have the 8-to-1 header on it, or did he do it?
It doesn't. He had that on there for SEMA. I don't know that it ever actually ran with that one.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's a crazy high compression. I think fairly big inch LS.
Yeah.
Turning a whole lot of RPM.
Yeah. I think his goal was to do 10,000 RPM with it. I don't know that he runs it that way, like as a race car, but I'm sure he's turning well above what would have been red line on that car or on that engine originally.
I mean, it sounded similar to what Eric Fleming's car did. And I know Eric was turning. Eric's. I think they said the peak power was at 8,400 on it.
That car,
and it's a 468.
That's so nutty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Silver vet. That car just keeps getting nuttier and nuttier and nuttier. Yeah. So I remember last year, maybe the year before, he was just banging out laps in that car, and it looked like basically just a bolt-on Corvette.
Yeah, but
he had a sequential in it and that 468 in it, and it's the most insane sounding thing in the world. He's taken it up a notch now, but
maybe 2 notches.
That's one of the cool ones too.
Yeah, and Eric ran Optima for a long time before moving into that car. He had a C7 Corvette that was super fast. Had a big like crazy built Lingenfelter engine in it, and then he's also got an older Corvette that he ran in the Vintage Classic against us. So I've talked to him off and on for years. So it's always cool seeing him at the track and hearing that car go down the front straight between the grandstands is just wild.
It's amazing if you think about it, how many guys that are there that started in Optima, because Fleming did, Ferris did, Swenson did, Mike DeSole did, and those are just the ones I can think of off the top of my head. I think maybe some of those Viper guys that show up every once in a while have been Optima competitors in the past.
Yeah, those are the main ones that I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, that's kind of a who's who of the top of both the GLTC and Time Attack fields. Yeah, Jeremy's fast in literally anything that he gets in. So
yeah,
wild.
Why are you so slow, Robbie?
I just need to get better.
Yeah,
I don't
drive better.
I'll try. Yeah. I made the car better. Now I just gotta drive better.
Did you though?
Definitely didn't make it worse.
Suspension actually works now.
Yeah, weird.
No, suspension travel's overrated.
I don't know. It took me 20 minutes to corner balance
all right with none of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that should have been a big red flag when it took me like for fucking ever to corner balance it last year and it looked stupid. And then this year I eyeballed it and like, it's pretty close. Then 2 adjustments later, perfect. Oh, yeah, weird. Weird.
Whoops.
Yeah. Big red flag now.
Yeah.
Should have been then, but.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yep.
So
anyway. Since we're talking about crazy F bodies, I got Mike DeSole car stories.
Yes. Continue, because
go on.
I mean,
so
first of all, real quick, I can't believe that car made it there that quickly.
Yeah, so
because that's a totally new body.
Yes,
he built that from scratch in like no time at all.
Like a week and a half.
Yeah, so so Mike decided, so every year they do Pikes Peak and then they do some other testing. They blew the car all the way apart after the first time to fix a lot of problems. They blew the car all the way apart again another time because it crashed at Pikes Peak.
Yep.
This year they just like did the thing and the car was fine afterwards. So it was like, okay, so what's the next steps for getting, for like optimizing it and getting it to the next level? So for anybody that doesn't know, it's a 68 Camaro. It's full tube chassis. It started off. So I talked to him in like 2014, I think, whenever the car was still just a Camaro with a Detroit Speed subframe underneath it and a mild LS3. I'm talking with him at an autocross and he's like, yeah, I'm going to twin turbo it and do this and that. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And then he did it.
Now he's one of the fastest cars in the country.
Yeah, before long, like I'm at an event, or it had to be earlier in 2014, but either way, I'm at an event in like 2015, just like a test autocross day, and they roll up with this full tube chassis car with no body on it to just do shakedown runs with it. And then, put the body on and ran Optima. He ended up winning Optima with it, and then they moved on to the Pikes Peak stuff. So over the winter, they decided the heavy part of the car that's still kind of weighing it down is what's left of the stock steel body, which is, I think, just the roof and the quarters. But I think he figured it was like 300 pounds. And so they got a fiberglass body to go on it to build all of the structure to be able to hold it. They did it in maybe a month.
It could have been more than a month maybe a month and a half since they announced that they were going to be building a custom body for it. I thought that the very first time we would see that car ready to go was before Pikes Peak testing.
Right.
I never in my wildest imagination thought that. I figured he'd be there with his Tesla again. Last year he was there with his Plaid.
Right.
I figured that's what he'd be there with again this year.
Yeah, so the body that's on there now it's just I think it's a VFN fiberglass body. So they're going to use that to make molds to do a carbon fiber body for it. So that's going to be the final form of it. He told me that, I don't remember what the number was, and he said that I think it's under 3,000 pounds, I think, safely. And he said that there's another at least 100, 250 pounds on it. Wow. The car makes 1,300 horsepower. It has an anti-lag setup on it that whenever they activate it for the mountain, it'll make like 5 pounds of boost at idle.
Yeah. It has a rocket anti-lag setup like a rally car does. Yeah. It's nuts.
Jeez.
So I think
one of the most interesting slip angle shows I've ever listened to was him and Robert Thorne talking about their rocket anti-lag setups that they've ran on their respective cars, and just hearing the things that can be done and just the insanity.
That was an excellent episode.
Crazy.
Yeah. Anytime I have the chance to talk to Mike for even just a couple minutes, I take full advantage of it. He's one of the most interesting, most creative, most dedicated people I've ever been around in any form. It's super, super impressive what they've done, from, I think 10 years ago. I don't know how much performance wise he had done around cars. I mean, he built a lot of custom cars and stuff like that, but, the amount they've done and the amount of time that he's done it is really crazy. So one of my buddies has crewed with him for the Pikes Peak stuff for several years. I was talking to him off and on through the weekend. So they have this kind of brain trust around that program of guys that, like, there's a guy that's an LMP3 engineer that has like developed LMP3 cars. There's the guy they're working on with at Alcon is like the head of their GT3 brake development program. And it's all these people that they go to him and they're like, okay, here's the problem we have. And we're going to do this thing where there's literally no rules. What can you do for us? And all these guys are used to working in these like really restrictive rules packages. And they're like, oh, I can just like make what I think will work. And you guys will just put it on there and nobody will complain.
Yeah.
This sounds like the coolest thing ever. And so he said, like, he's got an engineer that they send the Motec files after a session And he comes back with things as specific as like, oh, it looks like the nitrogen pressure is a little low on the right rear corner. And they go over and put a gauge on it, and sure enough, it is. Yeah, and he's just seeing that from like the wheels, like the shock travel traces and stuff like that. That's the kind of people that are working with them on this.
Amazing.
That's a level of insanity that like I couldn't even dream of.
Yeah, and so like I've been looking at the car for years and years now. I hadn't seen it.
Well, Robbie and I have seen the car too, because I mean, like the first year that we did this podcast, we went to Good Guys here in Des Moines, and that car was there. And remember how he had like all those crazy airplane theme gauges and the crazy like saddle leather seats in it and stuff like that.
That was so good.
It was so cool. I think all that stuff is finally gone. The gauges and stuff actually survived quite a few years.
Yep.
Before
the interior, like the dash of it is still there, kind of in the same form, but a lot of
it's slowly gotten more focused and less Optima. Legal.
Yeah. So like now with the new body, they just did a firewall across the back, so it's just a carbon panel. They moved the fuel cell forward and up, so it's like in the rear seat area for better weight distribution. There's a laundry list of stuff that they did to it, along with doing the change to the fiberglass body. But
they posted a pic of the car with the front clip off of it on like back at their shop on their social media, and the duct that comes off the back of the radiator and curves up over the engine to exhaust out the top of the hood has two big holes in it with fans.
Yeah. And
somebody asked what that was, and apparently they're the brake duct feeders.
Oh.
And they're clear up there in the radiator duct on the backside of the radiator.
Okay.
And they have fans to help push the air down to the brakes, apparently.
Jeez.
And they're like probably like 4 or 6 inch holes. I mean, they're big holes.
Right. Interesting.
Just crazy stuff.
Oh yeah.
The packaging in that car is intense.
So yeah, that's where I was going with seeing the progression of it since like 2014, 2015. So everywhere I could look on the car, they had it up on stands with the wheels off of it. There's stuff. Like
there's no dead space in the car.
Like you look in the rear wheel opening and you see like there's a giant brake and there's a push rod going up to a rocker arm, which is controlling a coilover. There's a Motec wheel travel sensor. There's just stuff everywhere. Wheel speed sensors for the Motec for the traction control. Up on the front, they've got just a giant. It's like a Pro Mod turbo.
Yeah,
that's on the passenger side right behind the wheel opening. And then there's the turbo, and then behind the turbo, there's this big, huge tube that's all discolored to holy hell because it's
has fire in it most of the time.
Yeah, and it's got lines and wires and stuff running out of it everywhere. It's just like, man, there's just so much going on this car.
Yeah.
So it was awesome to see it on track again after, several years of not being able to see it. Just watching them through social media, what they've done with that car is crazy.
We've seen it. It was at PPIR last year.
Yep.
And it was at Road America the year before, and he had a bunch of trouble with it at Road America.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that he ever really
got on track.
Got a representative lap of it.
No, I don't think he did.
Of the car. But yeah, we've seen the car a couple times recently.
And it's always different.
Yeah,
like way different.
Honestly, like sometimes I think that's almost a curse that time attackers do to themselves.
Oh, for sure.
It's like they change things on the car between every event, and
so every event you're learning a new car,
right?
Not developing it,
right?
Well, I mean, you're developing the car, but you're not developing yourself,
right? Well, I mean, and you're still developing yourself, but like fine tune some shit every once in a while too. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wild. I wrote. I talked to Adam and Abe said, if you want to write something for Track Tuned, I'll throw it up there. And it's not up there yet. Maybe it will be by the time this comes out. But one of the things I put in it was the paradox of Time Attack in general, but then especially in this format of like, okay, so as far as like Time Attack events in the US that you want to go and do well at, like it's Midwest Festival, it's Super Lap, it's like Button Willow Finals for GTA.
I don't think Midwest Fest can be on that list anymore because I don't think no one's going to set a Gingerman record at Midwest Fest. The track's garbage. Well, because of all the drift and stuff like that.
Well, that too.
It's just
I also
garbage.
think the track itself in general is worse than it was, say, 3 years ago.
The times they set at Rev Up this year will be faster than the times they set at Festival. I almost guarantee it. If you want to go there and lay down a track record, you got to go there on a weekend that's not a festival.
Yeah, that's
you need to do it first session out.
Yeah.
Of the day.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like, big spectator events, big,
right.
Big ticket events for the year. I feel like there's kind of three things
viewed on a national or on an international scale.
Yeah. Yeah. So Coda and Superlap being the first event of the year, yet everybody finished last year going, okay, I need to change this, and this. I'm going to be working on the car right up to the point that it needs to go on the damn trailer. I'm probably going to be working on it at the track, and I'm going to roll out on the Formula One track with 160 mile an hour back straight or 180 or whatever your car runs, and hope that everything holds together at this event that I care about like more than almost any of the other events of the year. So it's a funny, like whoever can get the most out of like making the most of their changes and being the most prepared in a car that has no testing time on it, most likely is. It's a cool kind of vibe at the thing, especially in Time Attack, of like seeing all these guys just thrashing on cars between sessions. Or I was watching Jackie's recap vid a couple nights ago and like seeing what those guys went through, just scratching their heads and just poring over data and trying to figure out like, right. We came here looking for a 213 and on Saturday they ran a 217 was their best. It was like, whoa, like what?
Well, and that doesn't even begin to touch on what they went through before the race even started.
Well, yeah, also that.
Shipping a guy from back to Chicago area or wherever to get the keys for the car because they forgot them and they couldn't even get it out of the trailer.
And doing it in the middle of South by Southwest in Austin, so they had to drive him, I think, to Dallas to be able to have him fly out.
He flew back into San Antonio.
Yeah, I thought he went to San Antonio.
Well, I think they had to fly him out of DFW and then fly him back to San Antonio. Jeez. Because flights in Austin, like Austin was so overbooked, the flights were just crazy.
Everything was crazy. It's the worst weekend, and we got it scheduled again next year.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be happily paying $380 to stay at a Super 8 for 2 nights next year too.
Gross.
It's the worst part for sure.
Yeah, that's not great.
So I'm slight away from the track story about the Super 8 in Austin.
Yes. That's what we all come here for.
Yeah, we don't really care about what happens on track.
You can watch the recap videos of the individual drivers.
So I was going back and forth for the couple of weeks before, like, do I drive the Z? Like, because I road tripped the Z down there the last couple of years. It's like, do I drive the Z? Do I drive my truck? Do I drive the Z? Do I drive my truck? Like, it's been super fun having the Z at the track because there's like 1,000 other Zs at the track with the Lone Star Drift stuff. And it's, just kind of fun to drive the car that you do dumb stuff with. But
yeah.
So last minute I decided I'll just drive the truck. I'll have a little bit more room. It'll be a more comfortable drive down there or whatever. So I exit the highway to go to the hotel whenever I get down there at like 10:30 that night on Friday. It tells me turn right, and it's like up and over a drainage thing. And it's a solid like 20-inch rise at about a 30-degree angle. Like it felt gnarly in my truck. Like, ooh, this wouldn't have been good if I had driven my car that sits like 3 inches off of the ground.
Yeah, it turns out you wouldn't have been able to park in the parking lot.
Yeah, so then you like go in and go around a little jog, and then the turn up into the actual parking lot for the hotel is even worse.
The approach angle on a half-ton Silverado is not even enough to get in this place.
I was legitimately worried about the little tube steps on my truck dragging as I went across it. I was like, there is no way I would have gotten within 100 yards of this hotel in any direction in my car.
Jeez.
So yeah, some things work out.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what approach angle you take at that.
No, there was no, like, I was looking at it when the Saturday morning whenever I left, I was like, man, no, this would have been bad.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I mean, it's Texas, so everyone has lifted trucks and stuff.
Yeah,
like that. That's fine. That's not an issue.
Yeah, apparently so. So,
were you close enough to the track that there were other people that were there, obviously, for the track?
At least one person was. Wes was parked right next to me on Saturday
really?
night.
Oh, nice.
Well, at least his isn't anything low either.
No.
So-
no, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I looked, like, whenever I got back to the track Saturday afternoon, I looked over and was like, that guy looks familiar. And, like, I felt bad afterwards because I talked to him and met him at Heartland Park,
yeah.
but
It's all a blur. It's hard to remember how many people you interact with and talk to, and then you see them on social media, but you see their cars and stuff like that. You don't see them so
Right.
much, and it's hard to remember that stuff. I get it. So
and at that time I was sulking because I didn't get invited to Rally Ready, so I was just going back.
that's not
into,
entirely true, I don't think.
I felt like it was one of those things that I could have probably invited myself to, but I wasn't in the mood to be that guy. So
Yeah. It seemed like it was pretty low key.
Yeah, I would have done
from
the
what I heard.
exact same thing.
Yeah.
I would have. So Dalton feeling like that he was the one that got there and kind of ruined things, I would have felt like 50 times worse than what Dalton did.
Because Jabay would be literally the only person you knew there.
Exactly. Yeah. I was thinking about, like, I felt out of place there last year and there was 150 people there, but I only knew like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, those are the anxiety-inducing situations that I'll just go sit back in my hotel by myself rather than deal with.
Yeah. So I ended up going out with Daniel, my buddy from work. So
Yeah, you got a
about
whole
8
crew
at
of local Texans that go to that, don't you?
this year
least a small
we had
crew?
several guys that had said several guys from work were going to come down, and then
All of them
none of
bailed
them-
as is
yeah,
normal.
they all flaked. So
I mean, that's
Par.
yeah. If even 50% of the people who say they're going to an event show up, then you probably underplanned for how many people you thought would come. Because let's be real here, that's how things go.
yep.
So anyway, other stuff, the shenanigans that were. I'll talk about the time attack stuff a little more, and then we can talk about some GLTC.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
Awesomeness, you mean?
This year the field was more interesting stuff than we have had in the past, I think.
Yes. So kind of for the first time in a few. Well, I guess Ferris and the GTR have had a couple different, like, pretty close battles, but
Yeah.
I felt like Unlimited was more of a, like, kind of filled out field than what it has been for a while.
Well, almost since the first year, well, I guess last year Will was there too, but almost since the first year, it's kind of just been who can push by themselves
who
because the rest of the class is broken.
Yeah, it's been
And you're
kind of
just
like, if you
chasing
can put down
last
a
year's record.
Yeah, if you can put down a representative lap, you're probably in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So
I always think that, like, I always almost feel bad for Ferris in that respect because when we first started going to all the Grid Life events and doing following all the time attack stuff, there was like this huge field of very fast unlimited cars, and there was literally 4 or 5 cars that could very easily take the weekend and the record at any event.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Ferris like jumped off the deep end into the unlimited field, I was like, well, fuck all y'all, we're going to Pikes Peak or never bringing our cars back out again. And so I guess have fun chasing our old records and trying to go faster by yourself. And that's got to be like the worst.
Yeah, that would suck. If you don't have a rabbit to chase, it's,
Right. I mean, the rabbit of the lap record is there,
But that's not the same.
but that's not the same.
Nope.
yeah,
Well, I'm the same way with with like being on track.
Yeah.
I always do better in a race than I do in qualifying.
Right.
Which, speaks to my experience and skills. But
Yeah.
But if I have a rabbit or the motivation of a race, I always do better.
That's kind of why I have this love-hate relationship with Pikes Peak, because it's a cool event, and there are a lot of cool cars that come from it, but it also takes a lot of my favorite time attack cars away from me for long periods of time, if not forever. Like Will's car has made it to one event since he started doing Pikes Peak, or maybe 2 or 3 events, but like since he started doing Pikes Peak, it's really just been his focus.
Yeah, it's just and out of our
life has been in a similar situation where, I mean, that's a lot of times is their focus, and Desold, that's a lot of times his focus. And back when he was still running them, gosh, now I can't remember his name, the guy who used to live in Michigan that built that NV8 hypercar. Cody Loveland.
Yeah.
Like all his crazy stuff that never shows up anymore because it
well, plus he lives in like Vegas.
Well, yeah, now he took a job with Supercar Systems and he lives in Vegas, but like that stuff never shows up anymore because it's Pikes Peak, and like it's such an all-encompassing event that's nearly all you do.
Right.
Well, and I think they were talking to Cole on the live stream at one point. And they were like, so what can you do here that applies to Pikes Peak? And he was like, not a damn thing.
No, because you got to set the car so much lower, and the speeds are totally different, and none of it really applies.
Oh, another fun fact on Desold's car. He was running like 180 before the halfway point of the back straight.
That's absurd.
I assume he was out of gear.
Yes, and they said that it was still like, it wasn't like aero limited, like it was still accelerating. It just ran out of RPM and gear.
Wow.
But like, what do you do? There's no point in fixing that problem.
Right. It's for one track.
Right.
Unless you do like like a quick change or something where you can change the gearing specifically for that track.
I'm shocked that quick changes are not a more common thing in the Grid Life, GLTC, Time Attack, Super Lab Battle circle.
I think it's going to be a thing for sure.
I mean, at some point, GLTC guys are going to have.
It's already been discussed at length.
At this point, that's got to be one of the lower hanging fruits, is being able to dial in gear sets for race.
Yeah, just optimizing. Just optimizing for the track for sure. Right.
I know Justin Kelly for sure swapped gears for Heartland Park when he was running with us.
Yeah, but he didn't have a quick change. I think he's just changing factory final drives.
Yeah. But then that led to the discussion of quick changes or having gear sets. I mean, it's really not between events. It's really not that hard to swap.
If they start doing that at the track, they're going to have to dyno.
Yeah, it changes your dyno
because it'll change your dyno. So you'll have to dyno like with the different gear sets to prove legality.
Yeah, you'd have to re-dyno every
What a
time.
fucking mess.
Oh yeah.
So,
but I mean, you got people with like different tunes. So I mean, you got to
I know.
I mean, if you get penalty weight and you decide to take that instead of weight, you're going to have to prove it anyways.
You're relying on the honesty of the competitor for a lot of that stuff, which is scary.
And you can't. Honestly.
At some point, it's going to get scary.
Competitors wouldn't lie. No,
not for a free or small trophy.
In the words of Abe Schmucker, racers are barbarians.
That's a polite way to put it. Yeah,
that's kind of what I always
fucking
thought.
Degenerate pieces of shit.
Tell us what you really mean, Abe. Say it. give me what you really mean. So, speaking of degenerates, McLarens, they were a hot item this year.
Yeah, there was a few McLarens.
You don't say.
So,
one in specific.
So do we just want to get into the pro comp discussion?
Yeah, we do.
We do.
How do you feel about it?
So,
wait, hold on. Let's explain. Pro Comp is a class that I guess sits above Unlimited almost.
While you explain that, I will be right back in 1 second.
Okay, it's kind of sits above Unlimited almost.
Yep.
not necessarily, but that's where like the tube chassis, the prototypes, the
factory built
cars, that's where they sit. And in Super Lap and GTA, that's called Pro Comp. In Grid Life, that's called Super Unlimited.
Yep.
Super Lap in specific has always had one or two cars that show up for Pro Comp at least. Although I think this year was like a remarkably sizable field.
This was probably I haven't been paying attention since the beginning. Time Attack isn't really my main focus, but I do pay attention to Super Lab Battle a little bit.
Right.
But this was easily the biggest field that I've been aware of.
Grid Life, it almost never has. Like, there's one or two cars that show up here and there. I know, like, I don't know. Ryan Dussik's, his Subaru gets classed in Pro Comp at Super Lap. I don't know where he gets stuck at Grid Life because that little Subaru that he has used to be an endurance car for a Japanese team, and it's like a really famous car.
Yep.
And how he ended up with it is a crazy story that I don't know that well, but I don't think that car. I think that was a body in white that doesn't have a VIN tag.
Right.
I think is why it ends up where it's at for them. But then, like this year especially, there were a couple of prototype cars that were there. There's that little Golf that has a crazy arrow on it that has a.
It's basically part S2000, part Miata, part something else.
Yeah, it's basically an S2000 drivetrain with Miata suspension and a Golf bolted on top of it.
Perfect.
And that ends up in Super Comp because it's got like no factory tub in it anymore or anything like that. It's not what I would call a tube chassis car, but so much of it has been cut out and modified that that's where he puts it. So, yeah, that's kind of what Pro Comp is. Yep. And this year was definitely the biggest field we've ever seen and the most competitive field we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's the first time that it's been the overall.
Yeah, a lot of times the Pro Comp cars are just they're not fighting for the lead.
They're
not battling.
They just fall into that.
They just fall into that, and they're there for the experience and for the track time and to put on, be part of the show. And I respect and enjoy that, but they've never been competing for top spot like running with the unlimited class cars like they have this year.
Yeah.
So this year, the big three in that class, there were just two LMP3 cars, right?
Yeah, two LMP3s.
And then there was
one of them. One of them was one of them was Jensen Little that had the
Miata that we love so dearly.
Miata the first year. So fun fact, SPL that makes suspension parts actually owns that car now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I still think that car, if you take the slicks off of it, and I can't remember, did he have a sequential in that car? Do you remember?
He might have.
If you put a normal box, you could put a dog box in it, and you put some 285 RT660s all the way around on it. And I seriously think that would upset some street mod cars.
I like it.
Yeah,
the times that he was doing,
a wild package.
The times that he was doing, I feel like that car would give Jackie a run for his money at most events in street mod.
That'd be awesome. That'd be fun to watch.
I thought the first time that car rolled across start finish the first year, I thought there was a timing error. I thought there's no fucking way. No fucking way. That dude cut a corner somewhere or something. I don't know. That car's 15 seconds faster than it should be.
Yeah, it went through a wormhole in the back straight is what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but anyway, he sold that car and bought an LMP car. And then there was another LMP car there as well. And then there was the McLaren 720 GT3X, which is McLaren's GT3 car
with an open rule book.
Basically, I think it's the GT3 car without the detune.
Yeah, it's like 700 horsepower with the full GT3
body
R like package around it.
But it's basically this is what our GT3 car could do if we didn't have to live by the power rules that GT3 cars have to live by. And so it's, I mean, I think it makes more power than a 720 does. The 720 that's built on.
Right.
As well as all the crazy.
All the aero bits, the braking suspension bits, all of it.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was reading, I think it said that it's still not as powerful as what like the best variant of the streetcar is.
Oh, really?
But it, like, the package altogether is like the ultimate McLaren race car, essentially. Like, whenever you put it all together.
I mean, I think it is faster than a Senna there.
Yeah, I would think it would have to be.
Which is
crazy.
So to put it in perspective, there was two different Mercedes AMG GT3s running, and it was 8 seconds faster than the fastest one of those.
Which, I mean, you can't take that. I mean, that's a huge time, but we don't know what the driver's skill in either of those.
Yeah.
Those two platforms
I know
are. Or anything
Cameron
like
Lawrence that was
like,
driving the McLaren is legit. Is like a pro driver of pro drivers.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know anything about the guys that were driving the
I'm not
Mercedes,
saying they were bad. I'm just that take it with a grain of salt. But 8 seconds is a fucking decade.
Yeah,
it's a lifetime.
When you're looking at GT3 cars, they should. I mean, that's one of the more competitive classes lap time wise. Like those should be real. I mean, I realize this is turned up, but damn, 8 seconds. That's crazy.
Yep. So watching that car go into the S's, I've only ever seen one other thing that had doors do that, and it was at an IMSA, like it was a prototype, like it was a P1 prototype. Like that car was completely insane.
What's really you'll love this, Robbie. Here's a stat about the 720 that you'll love very much. It's the same carbon tub as the street car.
Okay.
And it's so strong that they don't have to run a roll cage in it.
That's crazy.
It meets FIA crash standards without a roll cage.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so they had onboard videos on the YouTube channel for it's Rafa Racing is the team that was running it. And it's just like the interior of it is just these big pillars of carbon everywhere.
But that's the street car.
Yeah.
Like the GT3 car and the street car run the same tub with no
additional stuff.
No additional safety changes.
Amazing.
In fact, they probably take stuff out because it doesn't have airbags and shit like that in it.
Yeah. More optimized.
Yeah. They run, for all intents and purposes, it runs with less safety equipment than the street car.
Well, I mean, a Hans and a 6-point FIA harness go a little ways, but
it seems all right.
But still, it's crazy to think that, like, that's how McLaren built that car. It's so insane that they don't even put a cage in the fucking thing. So it was wild between sessions. Like they're pulling the wheels off and put them in warmers, and it's up on the air jacks, and there's like 7 guys. I was gonna say, when you say team running it, you mean
milling
team.
Yeah, milling around it, like
tapping away on laptops and like
laptops. Like not just one. Like
plural.
I don't remember which of the photographers it was had a picture in their gallery of like 4 people guiding it back into the garage spots.
Does it sound like the most insane thing too?
It was super quiet.
Oh, really?
It was real weird.
That's a bum deal.
Whenever we went to see WEC down there, the Audis that were the diesel hybrids at that time, they would go by and you would just hear air off of them. It was like remarkably similar to that. It was really wild. I think the 720 that was running in unlimited or limited was significantly louder than what it was. It was kind of strange, but
So I've proclaimed my love for McLarens.
Yeah, of course.
Like, if I was a rich guy, I would own like just a fucking parade of McLarens.
I still think some of the most beautiful cars ever made are McLarens.
Yeah, modern day McLarens are as good as they come.
Yes,
in modern day.
There's a few cars here and there that I would argue are more beautiful,
right,
and that I would prefer to have, but they're one-offs,
right?
As a brand,
they make the best cars.
I am with you on being a McLaren nut hugger.
Yeah,
all for it.
So, Jason Canacree, he runs a 720 in street mod at Grid Life events, and we're buddies because he also has an Omni.
Oh yeah,
because
you're the same. You're basically the same.
Basically the same people.
He's a man of taste.
He's a man of taste. So we bought an Omni. Clearly, he's a wonderful.
He's a true racer.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a GLTC car at some point.
That'd be sick.
He
just
bought
like
that,
yours.
He bought that one that was getting passed around. Like it's probably been a year or more now. It was a caged GLH turbo.
Yep. I do remember that one.
He's the one who bought it.
Nice.
And he's messaged me a couple times about it, but I'm just like, I'm fucking talking to a McLaren owner right now about Omni shit. Like, what is happening with my life? This is so weird. But yeah, I love them. McLarens are the best. But that car's in Pro Comp because it's a factory built race car with no VIN tag.
Yep.
And so the spirit of Time Attack, it's the stupidest term, has been a hot topic discussion point for the last year or so.
Oh, for sure.
Can we get Nads on the show next week to rebut whatever you're I
just triggered Devin by using that term. But I agree that prototype cars and tube chassis cars and stuff like that should probably have their own class, and they're not they can compete for overall and stuff like that, but they're not unlimited class cars. I actually think that cars like this GT3X and other GT3 cars and stuff like that, I really don't see why they're not allowed to run an unlimited.
Yeah, the fact that it doesn't have a VIN tag.
I like, because if I wanted to, I could go buy a McLaren 720S that has a VIN tag, and I could build that car if I wanted to.
Right.
Or I could spend probably not a whole lot less money, but like less money, just buy that one. Like, yeah, it's a lot of fucking money, but I mean, I could buy a 911 GT3 car, or I could build Ferris's Corvette. They're probably similar cash points, realistically.
Well,
and I just don't I don't see why they necessarily need to be separated.
So I'm going to go.
And I think
I thought we were going to have similar points here.
I probably have an unpopular opinion with that.
And I didn't think I would agree with Adam, but I do. The only thing different between that and what you could build and be completely legal is a VIN tag.
Yeah, because you could buy. I mean, theoretically, you could buy those parts from McLaren and build that car off of your street car if you wanted to.
So I'm going to go the other direction.
Yeah, controversy.
I figured you would, because you're a little bit more of a purist about you're sad that Dassault is making his car a carbon fiber monstrosity, and I couldn't be more tickled pink about it and stuff like that. So we have some slightly differing opinions of some of these upper echelon things.
I don't like how much I agree with you on things. This is freaking me out.
I'm good with that.
Dusty, pull me back.
So in the quote unquote spirit of what Time Attack is, I think if you bought that thing from Porsche or McLaren or whatever, and it was designed to go run for 24 hours in France, then it should be an exhibition class.
Nah. I don't see why.
Time Attack's about builds and about unique cars. I'm not saying that I don't want to see it on track. I love that those cars are there. It's amazing to watch them.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they're helping, fill out the field and make the event a viable thing. But I can go watch GT3 cars run anywhere, any day. If it's the premier Time Attack event in the US, I want it to be as many unique, shop built, ragged edge, weird ass cars as possible. And so if there's 5 different factory built cookie cutter cars, the McLaren is one of 15. I did not take lightly the fact that I got to see it run in anger on track, because I don't think many people are actually doing that with those cars. So it's really cool that
even if all 15 of them make it out on track on a regular basis, most of them do it on private cars.
Yeah, most people never track days.
You'll never.
I can't imagine that there's more than 4 or 5 of them that are actually getting driven the way they're supposed to be.
I've seen pictures of McLaren days at Coda, like private McLaren days with like Sennas and P1s and wild shit. And I would assume that that's the situation where that car is actually getting used an overwhelming majority of the time.
More often than not, if ever.
Yeah, I mean, unless they specifically like handpicked who was able to buy them, I would bet that the majority of them are sitting in someone's collection, and it's one of 15. And no, I would never drive it. Why would you drive it? That would ruin the value of it. Like,
yeah, it's got 4-digit miles.
So, see, I couldn't disagree more with it ruining the value. To me, the fact that car has done a 2 flat at Coda makes it worth more than any car that has 0 miles.
Yeah, but that's not the way most collectors look at it. But
I know.
Either way, I loved having those cars there. It was super cool to see LMP cars and that kind of stuff. But I don't, for pure time attack, I want to see cars like Ferris's and Will's and the Life GTR and Mike's car ends up in Pro Comp because it's tube chassis, but that is.
Oh, is it? I couldn't remember if he was Pro Comp or if that was an unlimited class car.
Yeah, he ends up in Pro Comp. I don't know. I don't know if it's just because it's tube chassis or what, but
Grid Life and SLB have just different enough rule sets that there's a couple of things that are just like, damn it.
Yeah,
there's a couple of cars from both regulars of the series that kind of get screwed by going to the other.
One or the other, yeah. See,
like the fact that Jackie runs in like the second class up in GTA, but Street Mod is like one of the it's one of the crazier classes in Grid Life.
I mean, technically, it's funny the middle.
To me.
Yeah,
but it's still like your street GT. Yeah, I don't know.
It's still the middle.
Yeah,
but you're right. It's the second slowest class in theory. It's the second class from the bottom in theory at Super Lap. There's just if you go and win enthusiast there, you technically have to jump in with Jackie. Yeah, you're forced into the street.
And there's a 13-second gap there.
Is that it?
A 26 to a 13, yeah.
Is that what it is?
Which is a long way.
Yeah.
That's a lifetime.
It's a metric fuck ton of money for most people.
Yeah. So, no, I will go back to your point, though. I completely agree with you. From the intent of time attack, from the spirit of time attack, I completely agree with you. But from writing a rule set and sticking to it, that car should not be in.
In my mind,
it should not be in Pro Comp. It should be in Unlimited.
I don't believe that there would ever be a situation if that car was made legal to run in Unlimited where everyone would be like, well, fuck this car. I'm sick of it. I'm just going to buy a GT3 Porsche Cup car and show up to the track with that. And secondly, if a bunch of people showed up with GT3 Cup cars, the next event, they'd all be fucking different. Because nobody who's that serious about time attack is going to allow them to be beat by another car, and they will modify the shit out of them, and they will make them faster, and they will be evolutions of what Porsche built or McLaren built or GM built on a Corvette platform. And I really don't see why it couldn't. I totally understand your argument, and you make a lot of solid points. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see why they need to be separated. I don't think that there's not enough of them in the world that are being used in this capacity that they need to be separated out. And I feel like because they're putting them in different classes and I'm not even sure that their records stand as overalls. I think that hurts them actually showing up.
Right.
If they were allowed to run in Unlimited.
I'm okay with that.
If they were allowed to run in Unlimited, there'd be more of them. And then they'd start modifying the shit out of them because I know they would.
I think most of the people that have the money to buy, like the Mercedes GT3 cars, I know for a fact that those guys are running like SRO and IMSA events. Like they're in Texas, like they're based at Crescent up here. Like it's a 3-hour drive down the road, and they can pay $1,600 for a weekend to go test. Like that's cheap for those guys. So,
it's a test weekend for them.
$1,200 or whatever it is for.
It's just entry. A chance to go out there and play with the car and get some laps in and do some brake and tire testing.
Yeah. Because those guys, the guys with the Mercedes and I think the LMP3 at least, Jason Chin, they were running the full session,
Yeah.
every session. And they were running like Jason Chen ran a 207 as his best lap. I bet he didn't run a lap under 210 or like over 210 the entire time because those cars are just designed to just go pound laps.
Why can't time attack cars be designed that way though?
Not whenever it's a guy, like, you know, it's a group of dudes that just love doing this. Like,
no, I get that.
But
I don't think that if you put that car in unlimited, I don't think that would make Ferris not want to run there. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
And I completely agree. Like,
I would be pretty
like that car wins overall. You're just like, yeah, whatever. Ferris wins overall. You're like, that's fucking amazing. You want that.
Yeah.
You're cheering for that. I completely agree with that. 100%.
Like if I had $1 million car that had $40 million of development put in it, I would hope that I could win overall. Yeah.
It's like getting a cheat code.
So Ferris had made comment on when I said something to him on Facebook that like this event was one of the hardest events he's had ever, as from a reliability standpoint. He had a ton of issues with the car, and I bet you that if things would have gone smoothly for him, he'd have given that car a run for its money.
Well, yeah, he definitely would have. On
data, he had time. He had tons of time.
Yeah, I mean, so we've gotten this far into it, and we haven't even talked about what all he went through. He was so busy. Every time I walked by there, I got a chance to talk to him like once the whole weekend.
Side note: Carbon Kevlar looks fucking sick.
Oh yeah, it looks
beautiful.
So the crazy thing about it, I didn't even think about it until I was looking back through all my pictures. So we're running in March, so all the grass is a lot greener there. So I'm like, I've got pictures of him like through the S's and stuff, and the car's up against the grass, and it just blends in.
He goes. Running in March, the grass is way greener.
What are you talking about?
It's fucking brown, dude.
It's dead. There's no green here.
It was 90 degrees on Saturday down there.
Yeah, well, it got to 60 here.
Oh, not today.
No, not today.
It was 48 degrees when I got out of my truck at Robbie's house. I was like, shit, I'm going to take my sweatshirt off.
Yeah, y'all are messed up.
I mean, I really can't argue with that. It sucks sometimes. Yeah, Iowa sucks. Stay away.
Yeah, it's
Stay
the worst.
away.
75 degrees today. I'm wearing sleeves.
I own one long sleeve T-shirt. One.
You got a couple.
One.
So anyway, back to Ferris. So I think either dyno testing or track testing the week of the event, they figured out that it was mushrooming valves.
Yep.
Or tuliping valves.
What does that mean?
Which means that the valves were actually like bending or like warping
inward.
Yeah, so it was losing
a bunch of compression,
seal on the valves. So they went to
what super alloy are they made of now?
Well, how is that possible?
So I think they put titaniums in it. I don't know if it had titaniums in it before, but I think he said they put titaniums in it.
I was gonna say, I know people put like Inconel and shit and like some of those super alloys that we use in aerospace all the time.
Yeah,
that's not uncommon.
I mean, it's kind of uncommon.
No, you put them in MZRs, man, and they're not that expensive.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus fucking Christ! How do you? I'm just trying to think how that is. That suction? There's no way.
And heat.
Is it
cylinder pressure and temperature.
It gets hot enough, and then when the suction is happening, it.
But
I think
those get mold.
Because when you braze those, you've got so much cylinder pressure that it's just pounding on those valves, and it's beating it up against the seat.
So you think it's pushing it? It's not that it's pulling it down; it's that it's pushing the center up and
cupping it.
That's my completely uneducated opinion as a guy that's only ever worked on naturally aspirated small blocks. But yes,
I'm sure it's a combination of all of it.
Yeah. So Wednesday or Thursday night before, they had the heads off of it at LME in Houston.
Yep.
Put it all back together. First session out on Saturday, they built. So he completely reskinned the car with a carbon Kevlar body from HGK. Completely rebuilt the nose structure on it to hold the splitter and everything. So first session out, that structure in the nose broke. So he came by me in the carousel with the splitter sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
So I came back through the paddock a little bit after that. They had unholed the nose and they were TIG welding it back up to get it strengthened back up. So I think he went out for the last session on Saturday. He had posted yesterday or the day before that the lap that he ran was a 2:03.8, which I think is just slightly faster than what they ran last year with it. Or than what I guess Life ran last year.
No, I think he won last year, didn't he?
I thought he did.
Or okay, yeah, that's right. So it increased the record by just a little bit. But in the on the process of running that lap, it had lifted the heads and pushed the head gaskets out of it, and said that it was filling cylinders up with water and doing all kinds of ugly, nasty stuff. He posted a clip of it coming through turn 20, and there is steam just rolling out the back of it.
Jeez.
So,
oh my God, that's insane.
That car is there's so much going on in that car, and there's still so much of it that's still Corvette. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's simultaneously one of the craziest and simplest builds in Unlimited.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shockingly Corvette parts on there, but there's also a ton of holy fuck custom shit too.
Yep. Yeah, so it's full rear mount radiator now, so the nose is completely closed up except for the sides for the intercoolers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kevlar body that's all just scratch mounted, so the whole rear tub is cut out of it now. He cut a lot of weight of it.
Yeah, it's probably less Corvette.
A lot of weight out of it with that.
It's still more silhouette Corvette than most upper echelon time attack. If you put that car next to a stock C6 versus Life's GTR next to a stock R35, that's more recognizable as a Corvette than Life's car. It's still more silhouette Corvette than a lot of the crazy Unlimited cars.
Yeah, Life's car with the big crazy tunnel through the middle, and then they've done a lot of cutouts on the sides,
and it's got those crazy canards on the front, and there's not even doors on it.
Well, it's half a door.
It's a half door.
Yeah, that car, which I don't know anything about GTRs to start with, but that car is unrecognizable to me as a street car. Ferris's car still has doors, and if you look inside it, there's still a Corvette transmission tunnel and everything else in there. I
think he still uses a factory rear diff.
Yeah, I think so. It's a beefed up. I know it's a beefed up gear set, and it's a different. I think the diff itself is an aftermarket, but it's still stock style.
Yeah, I remember. He put ZR1 axles on it and stuff like that, and everybody else is having to put crazy billet things in there, and he's putting parts off of the other factory car on it because that's fine.
Well, that kind of goes back to what Swenson's talked about on his GLTC car. He's I'm taking a car that was overbuilt to begin with and then going and running this with it. So I don't have to worry about the platform itself. I'm just worrying about dialing it in where, the guys with Civics and these other cars, they're trying to figure out how to make control arms not fold up in the middle of corners and stuff like that. So
or rear hub style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, his car, I'm excited to see him go to Australia, but I'm also kind of sad.
Yeah, so when does he have to ship that thing over?
I think he said it leaves in July.
For an October event?
September?
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't remember for sure. I think it's late September or maybe early October.
Okay.
And I think he said somewhere he posted, somebody asked him when it was leaving, and he said July.
Which also means he has to thrash on it to make sure it's ready by July. Otherwise, you're
that means like
shipping it across the world to go thrash on it in Australia.
Means like I assume it's probably not going to make it to the Road America Grid Life event, which is a real bum deal because that would have been a really cool car to have at the Time Attack event. It'd
be wild to be the fastest car on the property during a NASCAR weekend.
Yeah,
that'd be
right.
Awesome.
Wouldn't that be sweet?
Like fastest trap speed
trap
of
speed
anything,
and probably lap time.
Yep.
I mean, let's be real here. And he probably could have gone for a sub 2 there too, because I mean it's a lot of times Road America and Circuit of the Americas lap times are very similar.
Yeah, they talked about that on.
I mean, if you get the car shook out a bunch, get some of these gremlins he fought all weekend at Circuit of the Americas, he could take it to a NASCAR weekend and rub a sub 2 second lap or 2 minute lap time there. I'm like, fuck me, that'd be dope. I mean, don't get me wrong, going to Australia is like the coolest thing ever. And I'm beyond excited to watch that car run there. But there's a number of events that it means it's not going to be at this year that I won't get to see it, and that makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would love to see what that car will do at Mid-O now. And that won't happen.
Yep.
I would love to see it at Road America. That's not going to happen. I only hope that he gets it back in time to go to take it to Laguna Seca, and he takes that opportunity. That's my hope. It definitely won't make it to Lime Rock. I mean, there's a lot of events that it would have been cool to see that car at that it'll be in a crate on a boat. So
he was talking to Tomo one of the times I stopped by there, and said they've got like some test days lined up and stuff like that where I don't think he'll get to drive it down there, but he'll get like track time in some other cars there. Oh. So he'll have time on the track, and it won't be like he's not going to be like trying to learn the track in the process of also trying to shake down the car. He's out there doing an autocross while
everybody else has done a million laps there.
Yeah.
He's out there like, where do I turn in?
Yeah. So he was saying whenever he was talking to Tom, he was like, I've wanted to do this forever, but I wanted to find the way to do it the right way to do the car justice. Whenever we get down there to land as prepared as they possibly can be. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what they can do whenever they get down there.
I hope he's able to beat Will and take over as the fastest North American car.
That'd be cool.
So,
yeah.
I wish him all the luck. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not.
We'll be following.
You're just selfish, Adam.
You're 100% accurate on that. I am absolutely selfish because now all the events that I plan on going to, he probably won't fucking be at, and it's one of my favorite cars to see, and he's one of my favorite people to talk to. I talk to him at every event I go, and now I'm not going to get it.
So the piece I wrote for Track Tuned, if it ever gets published.
It'll come out just about the time they update their track records on Grid.life.
So I went through and looked at 2019 versus now to see in each class where the record stood. So Unlimited has dropped 3.3 seconds from Life ran a 2:07 that first year that him and James were going back and forth the whole weekend. Limited, so the first year was Ferris at a 2:18, and Eric dropped.
He's going from a 2:18 to a 2:03.
Yeah, 15 seconds in 5 years.
5 years. Ooh. That's crazy.
Yeah,
wow. But that first event, essentially ruined him.
Yeah, because he
won.
He came down there with the NA Big Inch LS, and then won a turbo from Garrett.
And they were like, "Hey, while we're at it, here have a twin."
Yeah, here have two. Which that was always his plan. Like I was talking to him leading up to that, and he was like, "Yeah, the car's going to be twin turbo. It's going to do this and this."
Yeah,
I've been around a lot of people that have talked about doing big crazy things, and then they've done them. So,
anyway, what is Fleming run? What did Fleming run now?
So Eric ran a 2:12.2 this year, which
6 seconds.
That's just off of what James ran in the Integra year one. Wow. James ran a 2:11 year one.
It's so nutty. And then Street.
So Street Jackie ran a 2:13.8. So Amir had set the record last year to 2:13.894, I think. Oof. And Jackie ran a 2:13.870.
Oh.
And
damn.
That is a 9.3 second improvement over 2019.
Wow.
Jackie? Did he win in 19?
No, he.
Who won in 19?
Yeah. 2019 was a 2:23 with Ryan Shimsk. He's a local guy.
Oh, okay.
Subaru.
Okay.
So Jackie ran the S2000 and only ran like a 2:30 the first year. I think they had issues with it.
Yeah, well, and that was an NA 240 horsepower car too.
Yeah. So his video from Coda is super cool, to which all of his videos are super cool because he manages to make time attack videos that are like entertaining and
really
educational to watch. Yeah. Like, so they went out with more, like the car's making more power. They did a whole like year worth of development work on it since last year. Everything on paper said the car should have been like significantly faster. I think he ran a 2:15 last year. They went out on Saturday and it I think the best was like a 17, and they were just scratching their heads and trying to figure out what was going on. Went and looked at a lot of the data, and he figured out that there was a lot of just like trusting the car, and then they turned it up to the max power level, and the car gained like 15 miles an hour on the back straight from tune 3 to tune 4.
Wow.
I was watching his laps from Saturday. I was like, man, that like he was running like 155. I was like, that's around what we were able to do with the Camaro with like 500 horsepower. And then they turned it up to 4 and it ran 170 something. Okay. That looks more like what I was expecting.
Wow.
That's crazy. 170. That's in a street legal car with air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah. AC, adaptive cruise, like
everything.
That car for my money, like that car still streetable, still like it's still
that's
a
king
car.
Of the hill for Dusty for sure.
Yeah. That is a bad MFer right there. Man,
I get
that
it.
is cool.
I get that too. I love more race car to cars than that. That's where my heart lies. I think my dad's tube chassis car ruined me because like now I think that's just what everyone should have is like these crazy, wild, stupid, purpose built machines. That's what everyone should have.
Yeah, so I have equal fascination with like a sprint car, which is like the most purpose-built thing on earth. Like the only thing it does is go fast and turn left. If you try to do anything else with it, it will literally kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also like taking something that just should not be that fast and like it's got door panels and air conditioning and everything else, and it is running 213 at Coda on street tires. Like he drove that thing from New Jersey to Ohio and won, and then drove it back.
Yeah,
last year. Like
I feel like there's a real possibility that he could post very similar times to the Cup cars at the NASCAR weekend at Road America, which I can only assume he will be at. And that's going to be hilarious to me. With a 200
rolling up the window
tire.
and looking at the infotainment screen in it.
On a 200 treadwear.
Yeah, and on 285s, like
and I feel like there's a real possibility that he could go nearly as fast or just as fast as some of those Cup cars. Like how funny would it be if he would have taken pole in the Xfinity race?
Yeah, I need to look and see what those cars were.
Yeah, I don't know if they've ran the new car there yet.
Well, they run a Coda.
Well, the Xfinity cars are still the old style.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I just assumed they were the same as the.
See, I feel like Jackie could break a lot of hearts at one lap with that car.
Yeah.
That car.
That's what he should be doing.
One lap's another
cruise at 90.
One lap's another event like Pikes Peak for me.
Yeah.
Like I love that people do it, but it also ruins a bunch of people that they're like, oh fuck these time attack events. I'm gonna go run one lap all the time. Motherfuckers, stop it.
Yeah, so the worst part is it's like
my own selfish needs, Robbie.
So yeah, the seeing all of the winning formula and ASM stuff about WRL, and then One Lap and Pikes Peak and all this other stuff. I'm like, everything is getting pulled away from Time Attack in one direction or the other. Like, stop it.
Yeah, but I mean, they are and then they aren't, because there's still there's cars coming in. Yes, there's cars leaving, and Time Attack has always been very cyclical. But like, there are cars leaving, but there's also a lot of them coming in. So, yeah. I mean, there were a lot of new builds there this year that were fast, and with some development time, are only going to go faster. So
yeah, the Time Attack field this year was super encouraging overall. So
should we talk about GLTC?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we can get Robbie to join in the conversation.
The assholes that are the barbarians.
Right here.
The barbarians.
Right here. Well, I mean, I wasn't there, but yeah, I'm right here.
For the most part, when Abe says that, he's referring to GLTC drivers.
Yeah, because Time Attack drivers are so different.
Yeah, Time Attack drivers don't complain about rules. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They're way less maintenance.
Uh-huh.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me?
They're all equally bad.
They could run a only Time Attack event on so many fewer staff because of all the extra bullshit that's required.
To run a safe race. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, even just to run a weekend, the scrutineering and the licensing and race director and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of extra people.
It really is.
So anyway, again, lots of new cars, lots of new faces.
There was a decent number of new drivers. I think there was, I want to say 6 rookies. I wasn't paying real close attention just because if I'm not at the race, I don't pay as quite close attention. Like, I'm still fairly active in the group chat, less so since I got my new job. And then I watched every race on the live stream. Made sure to watch that. And then, then I'll see if there's any drama or fallout in the group chat during the weekend.
Well, I mean,
obviously,
we're all here for the drama. Let's be real here. That's half the reason I want in that chat, is just so I can watch the drama. There's always weekend specific chats, so that it's just the drivers at the event, which makes sense to keep people like, say, me from commenting on something I'm not actually at, which is good. Right.
Granted, I'm not that guy.
That's why I don't understand why I got put in the Sunday Cup chat.
That's why I left it as soon as I could. I had no business being in there, which is why I left.
Anyway.
But yeah, so I think I want to say there's 6 rookies.
That's a lot, and for an event that's not exactly close to the core group of racers, and also the most expensive GLTC event. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it's
6 rookies is a lot of people.
I think the Road America event was also, if not equally as expensive, slightly. I want to say it's on par.
They're on par. Yeah, that would make sense.
But yeah, and the rookies that were there did very well. It sounds like, my understanding was that the ones that were there raced very cleanly, and fit into the group very well. There were some that, as soon as they jumped into, like, they threw them into the group chat, and then obviously it's just like, welcome to the chat. We don't talk about GLTC here. It's all bullshit. We draw dicks on pictures, which is really funny because we're starting to get more girls in the group. So then you're kind of
now it's a little weird. So should we continue to draw dicks on pictures?
Because like the thing is, someone will post a picture and Luke McGrew will take it, draw a dick on it, and post it back.
You have to also draw a vagina on there, so you're equal opportunity.
Well, it's funny, he did that, and then he's like, I just realized there's a lot of girls in the group now, so I apologize if I offended anybody. And Lena Chin took a picture that was already in there, drew a dick on it, and posted it back. It's like, you fit in. You're in the group.
Oh, no.
That's awesome.
And it's like, I'm not that active in the group, but Lena Chin is, and she's fucking hilarious. Awesome. Like, just when someone comes in and you're just like, this is our group of people, we all do these things, and we have this sense of humor, and everyone kind of fits into that mold. Right. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So, again, outside of the racetrack, just like the GLTC group, the people, the vibe, very good. And then the racing I thought was excellent over the weekend.
They put on a show. For sure. For many reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, the big one that everyone talked about, James Houghton losing his driver's side rear tire. The hub failed.
Yep.
Classic Honda things.
So I had a couple different moments for the weekend that I was like, I would rather be lucky than good at finding the spot that I need to be in. And that was one of them.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. So you were on the exit to the last turn, to turn 20.
Yeah.
So you got him coming around side by side with the Z.
So me and another guy were up on the top of turn 1, and he had a golf cart, and he was like, all right, I'm going to watch a couple of laps, and then I'm going to run down to turn 20 because the sun's going to be coming up right over the pit building. It's going to look awesome. Do you want to ride? It's like, hell yeah, I want to ride. So yeah, they came around the corner, and I panned across and got him because I was like, oh, like him and Michael Hilo were like right next to each other, and I like pan all the way down it and get him through, and then I realized as I was doing it, like James's car like comes through that corner and then just I was like, what was that? And so I like zoomed in and shot him like further down the straight, and then went back and looked at it afterwards and was like, he was missing a tire.
And not just that, like the whole wheel, everything just gone, all of it.
The hub assembly failed, so the wheel bearing out, everything came off.
Yeah, a couple of the shots I got, you can see the outline of the brake rotor on the back side of the car, the bottom of it.
When I was watching the live stream, I'm like, and he kept going, I'm like, oh, that bill. Oh my God, oh, that bill. Because Dakota is notorious for sending you ridiculous bills for if you hit tire
or at least
hit walls.
It.
No, they're not threats. It's like Barber. They're not threats.
I mean, the first year there was somebody who oiled down and they made a deal, but like I don't know that many horror stories of actually getting charged.
People in our group, I don't know of any.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that if you do something and it's like obvious that it like it was just a pure bad luck thing, I think they come to you and they're like, hey, like here's what the bill's supposed to be. If you can do like this much, like we're good. Like if your car like explodes and catch on fire, they're not going to write you a $15,000 invoice like while you're standing there pouring tears out of your eyes.
But if you do something stupid and you deserve a fine,
if you do something like drag a line through the middle of the track halfway around the lab, it might be a little bit different. But from the sound of it, it doesn't sound like he got popped with anything.
Yeah, which is why as I'm watching this, I'm not aware of how they do that. I'm just aware of the myth and the rumors.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is he lost a wheel. He is dragging a hub halfway across the track for a half a lap. Turns out he really didn't. The hub was gone.
Mostly control arm.
Yeah, so
that was dragging.
Yeah, it was just like the flat bottom of the back corner of the car.
I keep hearing this argument that I don't stand by, and I think Robbie can back me up on this because he's like basically a metallurgist at this point. But James's big argument is like, well, look at all the time attack cars. They're all throwing sparks from titanium skid plates. Like, yeah, but the reason we use titanium on those situations is because it's malleable.
Yeah,
it's super soft. And so it doesn't damage anything. Because if we could get away with using aluminum, we sure as fuck would. Because it's way cheaper.
No. The reason we don't use aluminum is because it doesn't spark. That's the only reason.
Oh, really? I figured we didn't use aluminum because it's harder enough that it might damage surfaces.
No, aluminum is so soft. So
yeah,
there's three split
sells aluminum ones.
Yeah, so there's
really?
Yeah, there's three splitter pucks that people sell.
Yeah,
titanium, obviously.
Yeah,
because
it's the one.
It's light.
That's the one that everybody fucking.
It's light. It sparks, and it theoretically does not damage the track. Aluminum, light, doesn't spark, doesn't damage the track.
Okay.
Stainless steel, sparks, damages the fuck out of the track.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's why everyone buys titanium because of the sparks, and because it theoretically does not damage the track.
I thought that we were actually doing this because it didn't damage the track, whereas aluminum could.
Aluminum cannot. Well, I mean, it all could, but aluminum wouldn't. Like it's super soft.
Huh. Okay, I stand corrected.
Looking fast is being fast. That's why you use aluminum. That's why you use titanium.
Yep. That's why mine are
titanium. I didn't realize that titanium was purely for hot boy points.
Yeah. I mean, you don't.
I'm not mad about this. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like all of this tracks because
I bought the titanium ones because they spark. I paid the extra money. Okay, I did.
If Robbie paid the extra money,
I could have got the aluminum ones.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. I stand corrected.
And I sure as hell was not going to be the guy that buys the stainless steel ones.
No, that sounds like a problem. They're probably the longest lasting ones.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they last forever.
But
you're the guy that's gouging
rude.
into the track.
Yeah, that's rude, for sure. So that's crazy. That was race 2.
That was race 2 because that was
the
Sunday
end
morning.
of set. Wait, what?
Wasn't that the last race on Saturday?
Race two Sunday morning.
Oh,
Because
that's
it's
right.
practice, qualifying, race, and then
You're right.
race.
Yep.
Yeah, three sessions each day.
Yes.
So race 2 was also the Formula One standing start.
Yes. That was an exciting.
It was
way to
really
start the
early
day.
too. It was there was. I mean, all the pretty golden hour pictures and all that horse shit.
Oh yeah,
that I don't really understand.
It was so good. Oh god, it was so good. I got some of everybody coming up into turn 1, like 5 wide, running way cleaner than what NASCAR did through there.
Oh my god, it wasn't even comparable. Michael Hilo, I think, posted the picture of it, and it showed like turn 1 of lap 1 of the NASCAR race, and it's just like
basically every car is
touching
underneath another car.
Yeah, it's unreal. Like embarrassingly bad.
Ugh.
And then GLTC can. I mean, you got some boops here and there, but it was a clean race through there.
So
And then NASCAR also didn't. No track limits except for through the S's apparently.
Which I don't think they really. Oh, they did enforce that a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So with GLTC, you've got a group of guys that A, have respect for each other, and B, have respect for their cars. And in NASCAR, you've got a bunch of guys that don't respect each other, and there's 14 other cars back at the shop, so why would I give a shit about this one?
They're not paid to save the car; they're paid to win.
Yep. And you could definitely tell that with the clearly we're getting away from the GLTC race, but you could definitely tell the drivers that race in IMSA or Formula One or open wheel, like it's very obvious that they're used to cars that you cannot do that with, and their driving style reflects that. So then when you get like someone like Jordan Taylor that gets himself in position 4 to start the race and then immediately falls back because he doesn't want to slam his car into other cars and everyone else is willing to do that. Yeah. I mean, it sucks because it's entertaining, I guess, a little bit.
See, I don't think it is.
It's not good racing.
Crashes are not that entertaining to me. Good racing is entertaining to me. And I realize I'm not the average race consumer or NASCAR consumer, I guess.
The problem with it for NASCAR on a road course, especially on a 3.4 mile road course, is that every time anything happens, it's a full course yellow, and it's a 20-minute downtime.
Yup.
Like minimum.
Why?
Even just
Is that
to
in
get
the
something
rules?
out of the middle of the track on the back straight
it just takes
was
that
a
long.
solid 20 minutes.
No. The full course caution. Why can't they sector yellow?
Because they view yellows as a way to bunch the field back up and create the excitement again is part of it. And 2, those guys, I don't think they're ever on a track with a safety vehicle. Like they don't do hot poles.
They couldn't register. They can't grasp the concept of sector yellows and hot poles.
Yeah. I don't think that exists in their rule book or the just the mindset of the guys. And I'm pulling that out of my ass. I don't know, but
it tracks.
It's
yeah.
It's probably as much to do with commercial breaks as anything, literally, because
there were so many.
That broadcast was absurd.
It was I kept thinking about on Talladega Nights where he's doing the crashing and then they cut to an Applebee's commercial.
Crash sequence is so long. We're gonna take a break.
But like they literally did that during the Coda race. Like they would do a commercial and then they cut back and then they do split screen where half the screen is a commercial and then they go back. But then there's like right back to another commercial. I think Ryan timed it out.
That's what I'm trying to find right now.
And it was like,
here it is. He said just finished the race. Just under 47 minutes of commercials.
It's too many.
47 minutes of commercials. I think he included the time that they split screened.
I don't think I thought he explained that he didn't count certain things too that would have added to it.
I don't know. I have terrible phone service down here, so I can't get it to all the load. But
anyways, but GLTC put on a pretty good show when it came to clean racing.
Yeah, so I think the race on Saturday afternoon, I was on the outside of turn 2, and Luke and Eric came down the hill from 1 through 2, and Eric disappeared behind the Corvette. Which is funny on several levels. One, because it's badass that those two dudes were door handle to door handle through 2, which is like loaded up about as hard as you can get anywhere on a racetrack. And they both looked at each other and were like, nope, I'm not giving. So we're going to see who comes out at the end. And 2, that Eric's car is so dang low that it disappears behind a C5 Corvette when it's a Civic.
Yeah, because C5 Corvettes are known for being really tall and large.
Cars.
I
mean, especially
one
his
on,
is,
one on Penske's set up to race.
and it's a fixed roof coupe. It doesn't even have the hatchback.
Yeah.
So there's even less real estate there.
Yeah, I showed that sequence to Eric, and he said, yeah, I looked over and saw it was Luke and was like, are you going to lift? Because I'm not going to. And I talked to Luke afterwards, and Luke said the exact same thing.
Yeah, weird.
But oddly enough, they made it through the corner without banging into each other.
That's because they're buddies. Like, they have a respect for each other. They're friends with each other, and they do that for the excitement of that moment.
Yes.
That's what they go to the race. That's what they spend thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours building those cars just for that 5 seconds going through that corner.
Yes. Obviously it'd be great to be doing it for P1.
Yeah.
That feeling still exists at P19.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just saying.
So I get
I
it.
don't need you to convince me to build a wheel-to-wheel car, Robbie. Come on.
Yeah, we do.
I've already offered you a seat.
Because you won't fucking take his seat.
I have offered you a
pansy.
seat.
Yeah, we called you out on it.
Yeah. Yep. I got a good start on getting comfortable enough to potentially do that.
What's more comfortable than a 350Z? Just like the one you own.
But maybe a little better.
One with 4 functional wheel hubs. That's my.
Robbie promises to.
I have Timkins on mine, and they're less than a year old. And I'll have spares. I promise.
It's fine.
Do I need to buy a different size seat? How skinny are you?
If anybody's going to fit into that
That's
seat,
what I'm saying,
it's
like-
Dusty. I mean, it's not like you're going to co-drive with Dalton anytime soon.
Dusty, please drive my car.
You're like one of 3 people who will fit in it.
Yeah, I've sat in it before.
Oh, see, I don't even need to get a new seat.
No, and you guys are similar height and build style. Like, you guys would fit in the seat comfortably together. Like, it doesn't have to change.
Man, it's like someone's offering you a seat to do Super Grid or something.
It's like there's an event that you've gone to already, and so you really have no excuse not to.
Yeah, you'll be there already. Anyways.
Yeah, I'm probably going to just be there shooting pictures if I'm completely honest.
No.
We'll see how the rest of the year goes.
Don't make me find someone else.
Bring your helmet.
Yep, and your suit.
And your Hans.
My fire extinguisher.
That comes
I'll have spares.
preloaded.
I'll have spares. I'll have spares.
Anything else?
Other GLTC notes. Adam Ulrich's car is super badass.
So
Best
good.
looking car, dude. I'm so excited at how cool that car looks.
I got a shot of him chasing Zach Lavoie in the Sunday morning race, and the lights in the middle of the bumper lit up all yellow, and
It's the best.
it's got the yellow and white C5R two-tone on it. Man,
He did very well.
Yeah.
I can't believe he stole my livery.
Whatever. I know better than that. I know better than that. I could see you doing a gold and green.
Green for the money, gold for the honey. That's what they say, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's definitely what white people who live on acreages in the middle of the country say.
That's that's what they say.
Next to a lake.
It's a pond.
It literally says lake on Google, Robbie.
Someone put that there. That's a lie.
In Minnesota, lake.
Iowa, not Minnesota.
That counts as a lake.
In Minnesota, that's an ocean.
The pond I drove through here, or the puddle I drove through here on the way up the driveway is a lake in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's not fair. It doesn't count.
Wisconsin has more lakes than Minnesota.
Lake number 10,001.
So
GLTC,
yes,
right? Yeah.
Adam's car, probably my favorite car in the field. So
I get that.
Yeah, so Adam's car looks super cool.
If you're listening to this, because I know he does at least occasionally, well done.
Yes. Eric's car was, having seen it at Heartland Park last year and seen it kind of be, I think I talked to him a little bit. He wasn't
We should say Eric
super
Kittil,
happy with where it was at.
Eric.
What's that?
We should say Eric Kittil because there is more than one Eric.
Eric Coutil, yeah. I forget that not everybody follows it like a giant nerd like we do. So
Right.
So Eric Coutil's Civic sedan, he ironed out a lot of stuff over the winter. The car was just super hooked everywhere. In a combination on that big, huge track that shouldn't have really been that competitive, he was running all over everybody through the S's.
That car's always been ridiculous through S's because I remember that was like the comment at NOLA is that I heard more than one person.
That was his old car.
Yeah, that's fair, but they're very similar cars. I mean,
yeah.
Apparently, that kid just knows how to drive an S.
Yeah, yeah. I remember watching him close up the gap on literally anybody that was anywhere near him in the S's at NOLA.
Or open it, depending on which end of the car they were on.
Yeah.
So I remember there being more than one comment from competitors and spectators alike that car, his old hatch, just went through the S's at NOLA like nothing else could.
Yeah. His car, watching the onboard, front-wheel drive cars have a certain attitude in a corner, and his car just does not look like any other front-wheel drive car to me.
Not at all.
It rotates on a dime, but it's still hooked like crazy. It's mind-boggling. It's a really, really impressive. I love watching that car on track in person. It was super cool. He had a ton of tight battles with Luke and with James, and and then Jeremy was Jeremy on a big open track. Like him and Paul Curley had some tight back and forth through the first couple of races, and then I think Paul had an issue with the diff at one point, and that kind of just opened the door for Jeremy to take the weekend. So
I was really surprised to see Jeremy with a Johnny Wang on the back of that car at COTA.
Oh yeah.
So the rules must have changed in such a way that he deemed that worth it. So
well, it clearly worked.
Well, and I think you've got through the high speed at the track's got big long straights, but it's also there's a lot of that track where you're turning too. So
at speed,
if you can get that high speed stability into the S's and through the carousel, you can. There's a lot of that track that is 80, 90 miles an hour in turns or higher.
You're flat or nearly there in third gear or fourth gear in a corner.
Yep.
So
I'm excited to see once hope Eric's able to get. I don't know. Eric and his dad got into an accident on the way back home, and looks like he's rounding up parts to get the car back together. So hopefully they're able to get back going here pretty soon. I'm excited to see that car on a smaller, more club track. I think it's going to be a really competitive combination. So,
yeah, I mean, most people that listen to the show that follow GLTC will know the story. But yeah, they were marathoning it back and then fell asleep and then ended up in the ditch. Luckily, both him and his dad are okay. Truck was written off, and probably the trailer too, but the Civic was in shockingly good shape.
So the trailer ended up upside down with the car still attached to it.
Yes.
So the car took the took the force of a crash with a trailer on top of it upside down, and the car shockingly well.
Yeah, it looked. From the first picture he posted of it upside down in the ditch or ravine or whatever you want to call that looked awful. Yeah. Literally every one of our worst nightmares. As soon as he posted that picture, I'm just like,
for somebody who's one of the few people who's written a car off in a GLTC race already, or written off a GLTC car in general, I was like, are you kidding me again?
Of all people, why does that have to happen?
Thrashed for like 8 months to put that car together from scratch, like from a stock, rusty 30-year-old car tub.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you could just see like in his first post, you could just like he's using words like just that he's just like lost. Like why do I even do this? Like why would I even bother putting it back together? Like why would I go back and try again? And then by the time the day kind of figured itself out and the damage wasn't near as bad to the car as everyone assumed it was. And then the outpouring of support from his Instagram followers, the GLCC community, Grid Life in general, is just it was very obvious that he'd be back quickly. All things considered, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
well, and then once they got the trailer righted and got the car out of the ditch, I mean, I saw some people made comments that like it didn't look any worse than some cars look after a 24-hour race.
Right.
Like
it looked like it was body damage.
Yeah, one of the better comments I saw was that just looks like a car after the 25 hours of Thunder.
Yeah. I've seen a few of those cars at PRI. They're not in good shape.
No.
So, all things considered, could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, and very happy to see that it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, every single person that's done these events has done exactly that, where they get in the car on Sunday and try to marathon at home so they can make it to work on Monday, and you're driving when you shouldn't. I've done it. I've done it many times. More times than I should have, because like one that sticks out to me is when I drove back from NCM after TT Nationals.
I figured that would be.
I was so tired. I bet mentally I was drunk.
Yeah.
I don't remember parts of the drive home.
I have no doubt in my mind I've done that shit after, some stupid shift at work.
Yep.
That and at this point, now that I've been doing this shit for a few years, at this point, I just go to sleep in my truck.
Yep.
I just find a place to park, the top of an exit ramp, a rest area, a gas station, whatever, lean my seat back and just crash for a while because it's not worth it.
No. After that event, like that next day, I was just like, dude, you're the dumbest fucker on earth. Yeah. Don't ever do that again. And I've never... Granted, I've driven home after events and I've been tired, but it's never come close to that ever again.
Yeah,
and it kind of helps the way Grid Life has formatted the events, where we're done earlier. But like WRL, we wouldn't get done until 6 o'clock. Then you load up, Then you load up and leave,
and you're trying to get the fuck out of there so you can get back to home.
Yep.
I mean, at that point, you're taking Monday off either way, but
right.
still,
but you're still going home.
But you want to get home so that you don't have to take Tuesday too, because you got 12, 15 hours of driving.
Yep.
Because we live in nowhere.
So yeah, we would always Sunday nights, like, because we would do Vegas every year with Optima. Sunday night it was like a 4 or 5 hour cat max, and he would drive part of it, I would drive the other part, and yeah, you leave the track and you're like, adrenaline's pumping, but then you realize that you've been thrashing for 2 days, or at a Grid Life event 3 days, and that adrenaline wears off and it hits hard.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, that next day, whenever he posted that, I was just bummed all day long, up until the point that we saw that that some of the I don't remember who it was that had come down there to help get the car with them, but they were all arguing over GLTC rules and stuff like that. So
yep,
that made me feel better about what kind of mood everybody was in at that point.
Jabay told us that he stopped at the gas station that Eric and his dad were at.
Yeah, I think Aaron Lichty had helped him,
and that Lichty had shown up with a truck and trailer, I think. And then Jabay said he knew he'd be okay when Eric was the one who started arguing about rules with Jabay.
So, classic Eric.
Yeah. Barbarian.
That made me feel way better about where everything was at. So
I'll say once the shock of it all kind of came back, and I think he started to see okay, this isn't as bad as it originally seemed, and then Eric's back to himself. It's like, he'll be back in no time. Yeah. Better than ever.
I assume he's going to be at CMP this weekend.
Probably not that, but I bet.
Nah.
Yeah. I bet he'll be at the rev up for sure. Ready to go.
Is there a GLTC event at
No, but he'll want to shake it down. Whatever. What do I know?
Potato, Robbie. So,
what about you? Any barbarian degenerate shit while you were at Coda? Like, porn mansion stuff.
The degenerates didn't show up this year, so he doesn't have any fun naked Dalton stories.
Yeah, there was.
Did you even go to a supermercado that had chickens?
I did not. Yeah, I. So
I don't even know what to do with this.
The closest thing I did to a supermercado was an Asian restaurant in South Austin that you had to order on your phone because they had no wait staff.
Oh, that sounds like some sort of bougie hipster bullshit.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with wait staff. It's just how they do things.
Yeah. Yep. But it's good sushi. I told Jabay I was going to go get sushi, and he looked at me like, "You're in the middle of Texas," and I was like, "Yep, I'm going to go eat sushi."
I mean, you're closer to the ocean than we are.
Yeah. I mean, I was closer to the ocean than I am when I eat sushi normally. So
yeah, I eat sushi here regularly. One of my favorite. I've been to sushi restaurants basically everywhere I go. One of my favorite ones in the whole world is here in Des Moines.
But that's because they have a table for you. Like all
they may recognize me still. We went there like 2 weeks ago, and they're like, "Oh, hey,
welcome back.
We saved this spot for you in the back." Okay, thanks,
Mr. Veerhout. Right this way.
Yeah, you see that line of people waiting? Yeah, fuck them. We got your table for you.
They unclinked the little velvet rope and let him walk through, and then clinked it back.
Everybody
table.
Everybody behind them whispering at each other. Who's that? Is he
Yeah.
like a local celebrity? I think I've seen him on the news.
Yeah,
I heard he's a pro-am racer.
He's got a stupid podcast.
Yeah,
it's a very famous podcast host.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
So yeah, GLTC was a good show as always. Tons of battles all the way through the order. Lots of cool cars. Same old.
Oh yeah. Should be a good year.
Yeah, I'm excited to, like I said, I'm excited to see how it shakes out. I think Coda's still an outlier track. I think a lot of the guys are adjusting their power to weight to try to optimize for there, but like CMP, Gingerman, those kind of tracks, like that's going to be where we find out who's who. So
definitely.
I've already mentally prepared myself to be disappointed in Kyle because he's not going to in any way, shape, or form mention any sort of "Are you faster than a redneck" references while at CMP this weekend. And I just feel like that's a missed opportunity, frankly.
You should message him directly. Do that.
I mentioned it. I mentioned it on the Grid Life a Grid Life post on Facebook.
I remember that.
And whoever's in charge of Grid Life's Facebook post tagged Kyle and told him to make sure that happened. I even posted a link to a show so that he could.
That is, if there is one thing that Kyle takes extremely seriously, it's the broadcast. So
there's not a chance.
Oh, I bet he does.
No way, bro.
Bet. Me and you right now. Slap bet.
No, I'm not slap
bet.
Shit.
Kyle will mention. Kyle will mention.
Nope.
Are you faster than a redneck?
He won't
this weekend on the live stream.
He won't.
Slap bet. Me and you.
I'm not fucking slap betting shit.
Tattoo bet.
Oh hell no. Hell.
I can't wait for the opening segment of the live stream. He's going to be like, "Well, you might recognize CMP from the
famous shows."
He writes scripts for those things.
It's true, he does.
He takes it seriously.
It's true, he does.
I will. What do you want to bet?
I think that show was too much of a joke.
No,
it's got everyone in the GLTC field is trying to find out if they're faster than a redneck.
What are we betting? Let's do it.
Nothing.
Come
I'm
on,
not doing it.
Stand behind your statement.
No, I don't have any need to bet, Robbie.
Boo, I would bet. I'm not a betting man, but I will bet.
No. I'm sure as hell not slap betting.
Slap bet.
Not only do I not want to get slapped, but I have no interest in slapping you.
Why not?
Uh-uh.
That's what friends do.
No.
We have a commissioner right
I'm
now.
not slapping anyone.
Man.
Am I a neutral third party?
No, because you're a Z-boy. You can't be trusted.
I know. I can't believe he's the commissioner of my bet.
I'm trying to get a seat for I'm like any good pro-am racer. I'm trying to get a seat for this year.
You were offered one. You don't want it.
Yeah, you turned it down twice now. Yeah, I like how he's a Z-boy, but he's also the commissioner for me and Wes's bet.
Well, I wouldn't mention that. Who chose him as the commissioner?
We did it publicly on that group.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I just said
And no
that
one
we
denied
needed-
it.
I just mentioned the need for a commissioner after the last.
Well,
bet.
I feel like if you are the one who's going to go out on a limb and mention it, you should expect to be the one who's going to be it.
Yeah, it's like not
You
being
didn't
in a
think that
meeting and getting
through.
volunteered for things.
If you didn't think that was going to happen, then you didn't think it through. And frankly, that's your own fault at this point, and you deserve to be bet commissioner.
Like you are on this one. Because I'm right.
I'm not betting shit.
Bet
Rob.
me something.
I will bet something, but it is sure as fuck ain't going to be a slap bet.
All right, no slap, no tattoo. What are we eating?
You can bet the Apex Pro that E-Man still has.
No, it's here.
No, it's here. It's right
here.
there.
Oh,
Got it. I got it
It's
back.
mounted upside down.
You know what I'm waiting for though? An up rev cable and a cruise control button. That also has not showed up.
So we can get rid of Z number 2.
Yes, I have a Z in my garage. That's not mine.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep. It needs things to run, which should be here tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
Well, I said that every day this week.
Is this like your vinyls?
They're on the car.
Are they?
The only ones I'm waiting on are the ones that ship today, the NASCAR numbers.
So when are we debuting? You're so annoying.
Why are you avoiding this bet?
Because I don't have any interest in participating.
Because I'm right, and you
This
know
can
it.
be the new hot take. You just make a bet at the end of every.
I love it.
podcast.
I'm in. I'll bet. I like these stupid bets. I'm in.
No.
And then the funny
Should be
part
like
will
food.
be that by the time this actually comes out, everyone will already know if Kyle mentioned it or not.
It's true.
I know.
It's true.
Because I'm right.
I'm not doing it, Robbie.
Oh, come on. Bet something.
What? I'm not eating some spicy bullshit sushi roll. And there's
I
like
would even buy you a good sushi
and there's
roll.
like nothing I could come up with that you wouldn't want to eat. That's not a
That's true.
it's not a reasonable bet. Because
That's why
it's
the
kind
slap
of
bet
like
is the perfect.
It's the perfect bet.
I'm not slap.
A slap bet is the
No,
perfect
that goes
bet.
against everything I can think of. That's I'm not slapping another human
I
being.
want to be the next person that you've hit in anger.
Don Boss holds that title as
I
being
know.
the only person I've ever hit in anger, and I
And I
think
will-
he'd be really upset if I. As fact, we have a long-standing agreement that if I get to the point where I'm mad enough that I feel the need to hit somebody, I'm supposed to call him so that he can come and do it for me because he doesn't want to lose his title. He's the only person in the history.
All right,
of-
then he can
in the
be
history of all things that has upset me enough to the point where I hit him in anger. And he's quite proud of that. As any good friend would be.
Of course. All right, gentleman's agreement. Whatever. No real bet.
If I had $1, I'd do it. I don't have $1.
I don't have any money.
If I had a $1 bill, I'd slap that
I'm in
bitch
my
on
house.
the
I
table.
don't have
and
my
do it.
wallet. I was like, where's cash?
Yeah.
Actually, I do now because of the government, you know. I want them tracking me.
You're gonna start going to swap meets.
I missed out on Wild Wades. I was so mad at myself.
Oh, really?
That was last weekend.
If I'd have known that you were mad about it, I would have gone.
Oh, I was gonna go.
Oh, really?
'cause my coworker made a
Why
comment
don't you
about
tell
it.
me these things, Robbie?
He's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to Wild Wades this weekend." I was like, "Oh shit, that's this weekend." And then
The
like
only
the
reason
whole
I didn't
weekend
go is
happened.
because my dad was on call, and I figured you would have no interest, and I didn't feel like walking around by myself.
Oh, I would have gone. I just totally forgot about it.
Well,
Like,
shit, if
I
I'd
was
have known that,
busy in the shop.
we'd have been there.
I was putting stickers on a car,
Allegedly.
allegedly, and then I ended up doing some stuff, and then I didn't go.
Because there was also one at Pacific Junction last weekend.
I would have gone.
I didn't really want to drive that long.
I would have gone to Wild Wades.
Yeah.
So yeah, swap meets and cash, and slap bets.
Could have bought some small block parts.
Or find some sweet.
And I bet you can get some
Z-boys.
sweet deals on carburetors there.
So many 4 barrels.
I just need some.
Holly 650 double pumpers.
Double
Yeah.
pumpers, baby.
Yeah, that'll work. I don't know. Usually I get tools. Like I get cheap tools there.
My dad likes to go there and buy electrical connectors.
Yep.
Because you can buy them in bulk for cheap.
Yep.
Uh,
Like
And that's still the best place to go and buy ratchet straps.
yep. I mean, I'm building my spares packages, so like I have like every type of fuse. I have,
Yeah.
you know, all that shit.
That's a good place. That's a good thing to buy at swap meets.
That type of stuff
sort
would
of
have been
stuff
good.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Right now, I'm just buying it all from China, so I have like these packages that take like 6 weeks to get here.
I wouldn't do that.
Speaking of spares, I have
stuff.
a lightly used Z wheel hub I can send you for your.
I don't
spares
want
pack.
that one. I don't want that one at all. You're the one that. You're
What
the
a
one.
guy!
You're the one.
What
that,
a guy offering you up a hub like that.
This is the guy that he was on track with the same set of wheels bearings on his Z for 9 years.
What?
Yeah,
9 years?
Of course they failed.
How did you get that many years out of?
I'm expecting to get 2.
Even off track. You don't get 9 years out of a wheel bearing. You live a life on the wild side.
I'm gonna decrease my service interval on that by at least 2 years now.
By at least 2. No, it should be 2 years.
I'll say my cheap ones
so
lasted an event. One.
So the funny thing is, I went out on track and it felt weird, and I came in and I did the autocross wheel hub tech test, and it felt fine.
That's because that's the worst wheel hub, or that's the worst way to
Because
test
that's a
anything.
waste of everyone's time.
Yeah,
It is.
but it's a thing everybody does at every autocross and track event.
Yep. When Jess's Edge was making noise, and I was like not convinced on what it was, I went out and I did that to the driver's side wheel. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is loose. This one's bad.
Okay,
So I ordered the driver's side up.
and it wasn't.
It was the other side, the one that had no play in it.
Yeah.
That was the bad one.
Yeah,
So I had to replace them both.
I've never understood that. Like with weight on the car, you're not identifying anything. You got to jack it up to even get a general idea. If it's that bad, you probably wouldn't have made it there.
Well, in mine, even with the weight off of it, it didn't feel out of the ordinary. Like I jacked it up and looked everything over as best I could, like pull the wheel off and everything.
But there's a crack like 3/4 of the way around it, right?
Yeah,
Around
yeah,
the
it was
hub
basically
surface?
it was basically like the section around one wheel stud was the only thing holding it together. Yeah,
Man, you were lucky you made it back to paddock.
yeah,
And home.
yeah. I'm
He has
lucky
a
it wasn't
trailer.
just like, well, I mean, the way the stock brakes are, there's a caliper bracket around the rotor, so I don't like I don't want to think about what it would have done if it had come all the way off, but yeah.
Nothing good. Plus, you're going to need like healthy hubs when you get your big brake kit
Yeah.
and your Aero and your Mark 60.
And your NOS sponsorship,
Or you can just drive mine. Has all that.
except the NOS sponsorship.
Nah, I don't know. I got other sponsorships, so
You haven't seen the decals, you don't know that.
true story.
they
Dusty
need,
has.
They need a time attack car to sponsor.
Or GLTC car sponsor.
No, because they're the title sponsor for Track Battle. They don't have any. They already have a NOS car in GLTC.
You know, I filled out their sponsor me thing for
Yeah.
the like when we were looking for mid of TT sponsors and the podcast. They never got back to me.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird that they didn't consider
You know,
that.
do you have any idea how many sponsor me emails I've sent? Not for my driving, but for the podcast and the mid of TT series. Unreal.
Yeah.
Dear sir or madam.
To whom it may concern.
Should we shut it down?
If we stick around for another 10 minutes, we can beat Dalton's.
No. What? Seriously? Jesus fucking
See,
Christ.
I'm just disappointed that we didn't. I thought I was coming on for the post Shop Top recap show, like a reality show where we would like have
We talk about that show.
interested parties on for interviews, and that's
We can do that later.
what I was coming here for.
I like how Chop Top shared our post and said it was the most Midwestern
Podcast
Chop Top
ever.
story or some shit. I don't remember. I was like, oh, God.
It was the most Midwest podcast ever, I think was the term. Yeah.
That's probably fair.
It's not wrong.
I'm not mad about that.
And Adult was
Imagine
all like,
Imagine if there hadn't been a guy from Texas on there to like even it out a little bit.
yeah,
You
he-
were just along for the ride.
yeah, Dalton thought for sure it was the longest episode ever, but it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
I looked. The Haboob episode where we talked about that weather thing. That was like damn near 3 hours.
Wasn't that just you and me?
I think so. I didn't actually see what. Yeah, it was just you and me. It was,
No, we
it was
don't think
damn
we-
near 3
yeah,
hours.
that's insane.
It was that one
What a waste of time.
2:39.
Why do people listen to this?
because
So I'll do you one better. I was here for the Dalton podcast I was here for the 30 minutes before and the 20 minutes after, and I listened to the thing. So I'm like 7 hours in on that at this
point. He's dedicated to it.
Yep.
And it was funnier the second time.
Yeah, I bet it was. I still need to go back and listen to some of those older
border
ones.
of Texas and Tennessee.
I was driving down the road with tears in my eyes at that, just dying laughing all over again.
So good.
Fucking dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, we can wrap this one up and we'll catch everybody next week.
Thanks for going again, Dusty, even though we all bailed on you.
Well, I didn't bail.
That's fair. Robbie didn't bail on you, technically.
I just wasn't
He
going.
just never was going. I bailed on you.
I didn't let you down.
So,
plus I offered you a drive.
Thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity, as always, to go run around and act like I know what I'm doing with the camera. So,
anytime.
Good times.
All right.
See you next week.